And the ECHL is on. It's either, I don't know if it's on Prime. I think it's Prime. There are ECHL games on that.
It's unreal.
It's a coup for them, man.
Totally.
And Peacock's got like, I don't know if it's a game a night, but like last night, Peacock had the Yankees game. And tonight, the Tigers in Kansas City are on, and you get to pick which broadcast you want. It's not their thing. Like it was, I don't know how the deal works, but I was looking at it, and you Yankees home, Angels home tomorrow. Tigers, or Tigers broadcast, Royals away. So,
boy, Yankees got lucky last night.
I saw they scored 2 in the bottom of the ninth, but it looked like a double drove in runs. So
Angels with 1 out, 1 on, dropped an infield pop up.
Gotcha.
Would have been 2 out.
Yeah, you said it a million times. Can't give a team 4 outs. Morning, everybody. Got hassled by my girlfriend yesterday because I had an FGCU shirt on. She gave me a Go Bulls. There's a little sweetheart that works here. She's like, she looked at my shirt. I was going to sit down for her. She's like, Go Bulls. What's with that FGCU stuff?
You're like, I live there. Besides, they have never sent me any swag.
Exactly. Yeah, Paula, thinking about you. Most of the people up north, but yes.
I don't hear anything. Top of the morning to you on this Thursday, a week away from the NFL draft, and a whole lot going on, including the final day of the NHL regular season. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm good, David. I am good. Watched sports last night on television that I never in my life thought I would be watching.
Okay.
Well, I mean, one was the play-in game. I watched the entire second half of the play, or a decent amount of the second half, because as I flipped on Amazon Prime, it gave me a list of all the things on. And you were at the end of the show yesterday, unfortunately incorrect, when you said the Yankees are on Amazon Prime. And I told you I would look because I thought it was just a local feed. And that indeed was the case. Right. They were on Peacock, however, as I was going through my streaming services and did find the Yankees on Peacock. That apparently, and I got to keep checking, is there a game a night? I don't know, because the Yankees were on last night and the Tigers are on Peacock tonight. So that's all I got for you. But then I went back to Prime, and I get my Paramount Plus subscription through Prime. So if I'm wrong on where these are, I apologize to the audience, because they're all listed for me on the same bar through my Amazon Prime account. And first off was the basketball game. And all of a sudden I look, and there's a bunch of other sports, because I'm scrolling to see if the Yankees game's on, and it wasn't. But then I see US Open Cup in soccer. And then I see where I live, Naples FC taking on Orlando. And I'm like, huh. So I did watch some of that, and I never in a million years thought I would be watching the US Open Cup soccer match that apparently was also on the CBS Sports Network, because I had to text our old producer, Colin, who now lives in Nashville, and he's a soccer geek. And I'm like, what the hell is this tournament? Is this like the Champions League? And he's like, no, it's like the FA Cup at England, which really didn't give me a whole lot of perspective. I had to then go look up what the FA Cup was, David. But now I have more information on soccer than I've ever wanted in my life.
Well, what is the FA Cup?
It is the FA Cup is an all England tournament for every level of club soccer. And that's what the US Open Cup, or now the Lamar Hunt Cup, is called. So the Naples team is in, I believe, the USL, and they were playing Orlando, which is obviously, as you know, in the MLS. So, you know, it is an opportunity. And David, you and I both met, and I began, or not didn't begin, but we began our friendship and relationship and eventually our show in Southwest Florida. And they have a pretty popular minor league hockey team. Orlando has a hockey team. Jacksonville has a hockey team in what's called the ECHL. It would be the equivalent, and now that is a double A league, but it would still be the equivalent of a game between the Lightning and one of those ECHL teams.
Right.
And that's something that you and I have, you know, for the longest time said that, you know, that will never happen. That's why that's minor league. It is what it is, and it will always be that. Fun, entertaining, good night out, but we don't take it too seriously. But all of a sudden, when you get a club team, you know, a double-A baseball team playing the Yankees, I mean, that's the stuff they make cheesy movies about, for crying out loud, not actual TV. So I watched that. It was entertaining. I was impressed by how hard the little guy played against the big guy, even though they came up short. But then I watched the play-in game, and I don't know why and I don't know how, but all of a sudden I'm yelling at Paolo Banchero for shooting three-pointers late in the game when he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with the basket. And I didn't really care going in, but we had Jake Chapman on yesterday. I wanted the Magic to win, and they were there for a moment and then basically fell apart late.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did, which they have done under this head coach on the road continuously. They have not won a play-in, play-off, whatever you want to call it, game on the road this decade. And they lost on the road last night. Good for them that they're coming home. Maybe they can qualify for the playoffs if they can beat the Charlotte Hornets at home. We'll find out tomorrow night.
So yeah, a little soccer, a little play-in. You know, I didn't do anything but realize the baseball was on. I can't include myself in watching that, but you know, I don't normally do that. Normally, when there's a to me, the play-in is not a big deal, and it's worked very well. The games have been competitive. I'm not knocking that part of it. I just don't. I don't get into the play-in. That's a me problem. If you're an NBA guy, I don't want to get yelled at for it. But yeah, I watched some things I don't normally watch last night. That's all. Good night at TV. Right. Good night of little sports television.
Okay, and you also said when you were flipping around Amazon that Double-A Hockey League had some games on Amazon.
I don't know if it was Amazon or if it was Paramount because they're mixed, but damn it, David, the ECHL was on. The Fort made comments in the Indianapolis Fury. Who knew?
Yeah.
You used to have to get a good night and catch WoWo out of Fort Wayne to catch Comet hockey.
So it was a good night for the play-in, although the Magic fell apart late. Steph Curry and the boys did it again. The old gang, the old guys, the senior citizens, if you will. Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Al Horford. And there was a Kristaps Porzingis sighting in the fourth quarter. I know. But the Warriors going way back into the Wayback Machine. This Steph Curry's amazing. I mean, he really is. I mean, he just single-handedly eliminated the LA Clippers from the playoffs, down 13 points in the fourth quarter. And that's after he kept his team within 13 because he was the only one doing anything in the whole third quarter. He was supposed to be on a minutes restriction. They had to get rid of that, obviously, because they were losing. But the old guys did it, Mark. Even Draymond with a couple of steals on Kawhi in the final minute of regulation. All right. Al Horford hit 3 threes in the fourth quarter. And just go watch the 3 Steph hits with 50 seconds to go in a tie game. And we're going to miss him.
No doubt. 7
We
of
are
12
gonna
behind
miss
the
him.
arc in a big game. It's,
I'll
it
tell
is
you.
amazing when you go through those players, David, just how old they are. I mean,
Yeah.
Horford, Green. I mean, take Steph, just put him to the side for a second. The other guys we were talking about are Porzingis, who's, older and as injured as any player who's played this decade. I mean, he has gone through so many different injuries over the course of it.
His body, okay, is older than his birth certificate.
And then Horford obviously has been around forever hitting big shots, and Draymond Green's not even half the player that he was in his prime. And then you add Steph, who is, played a third of the season maybe, and comes up big in this game. So the play-in worked again. We get more of it tonight. It's it is what it is in that league. So play-in basketball, or I guess tomorrow night. We got nothing tonight. We get the other elimination games tomorrow night with the Hornets and Magic and Warriors and Suns to figure out who the remaining playoff teams are. But I don't know about a big night of baseball. I mean, some teams, for whatever reason, kind of screw, big night of baseball. But the Rays continue to win. And, David, there is a clear difference in what we think are really good teams, a bunch of average teams, and still bad teams in the league. And you've got to take advantage when you play the bad teams. And after beating a really good team and sweeping them in the Yankees, the Rays picking up right where they left off, beating the White Sox last night. And it wasn't just the 8 runs. It was the fact that they got good starting pitching again. They got good bullpen pitching last night up until the game was out of hand. So I thought that was a significant win for the Rays in how they won it. They're playing every kind of baseball you want. They're playing small ball. They're getting pitching. Now they got the bullpen going because it wasn't early in the year. So I think that's a good sign for the Tampa Bay Rays here early. And
just stockpile those wins, baby. Stockpile those wins, and then turn around midway through, 2/3 of the way through the season, and see how many you got. And see if you need to make some deals or what have you. So, yeah, nice to see. Nice to see. A little long ball last night from the Rays. They played small ball against the Yankees, playing a little longer ball against the White Sox. All right. They're fun. I will say they're a fun team.
And obviously, when you got a Junior Carmenera, you got someone worth going to the ballpark every night to watch. You do. I mean, that's just a fact. When the Reds were kind of trying to figure out if they were going to be good or not, you and I were like, yeah, but I can go watch Ellie De La Cruz every night. I don't know how good they're going to be, but I've got one guy. And to me, when you're a middle team, and that's what I would consider the Rays, they've got some really good pitchers, but they've got a guy that I can say, and not being this is one, David, where if you and I lived here, it's like, well, let's go to the Rays game. I can watch Junior Carmenera come to the plate 4 times tonight. I'm in. So 5 in a row for the Rays. Nothing wrong with that.
I believe, Mark, it's the first place Rays, Pirates, and A's right now.
Don't forget about the Minnesota Twins.
Oh, that's right. So it's the first place Rays. So in the American League, it's the Rays, the Twins, and the A's. And it's the first place Pirates in the NL Central, right?
Tied with the Reds.
Glad the Braves and the Dodgers can hold up their end for the big market clubs. Way to go, boys. Way to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Marlins hit a little rough patch getting swept by Detroit. Now have split the first 2 with Atlanta because they were in first place for a while as well. I don't know if you would call them developments. Yesterday, we were reporting that LIV Golf may be going away. LIV Golf says they're not, but there are a lot of other reports out there that say there is definitely trouble. They are playing this week in Mexico. Bob Harig will join us later in the show to talk about that. Millerand, Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
PGA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, Empire, I saw the play clearly over the line. I don't know. I definitely think it went over the line. Colin, our old producer, thought it went over the line. John, our old producer, thought it went over the line. But clearly, I mean, it was very, very close. If that pitcher, depends on what angle it's taken from, it's very unfortunate. Obviously, at that level, they don't have VAR. I'm aware, and we're not going to spend any time on this show talking about it, but I'm aware there was a controversial no-goal call. They had a billion chances late in this. I mean, the last 20 minutes, they had 3 good, really good opportunities, good shots. But it looked like it was very exciting. There were lots of people there. It looked good enough that I want to go to a game. It looked good enough that our old producer, John's like, I'm going to a game. So they're doing just fine. It would have been awesome if they would have won, but the TV highlight I saw made it look very, very close. Clearly, we'll see. If you say so from the Naples FC X page, I mean, what angle was it? I'll look right now, but it was very close. I mean, the announcers on TV didn't use the words clearly, just for what it's worth. And they showed a replay at the end of the game. It looked like it. I mean, the shadow's down, but again, it's an angle from behind the goal. Does it look in? Sure. But unless the pitcher's straight down the line, I have trouble believing it. How did they get to host that? That's my question. But good for, it was a great atmosphere. It was, I mean, the fans were all booing after the game because they thought they got screwed. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes losing a game that way gets fans more into a team than if they would have actually lost it with that goal going in and getting it in overtime. If you know what I mean, if they ended up losing in an extra session, okay, it's part of the lower level team gets to host. That's a cool thing. I will say that U.S. Open Cup, and Colin pointed this out to me because I did look it up. It's been going on since 1914. Well, first off, Shimko, the Naples FC is already there, and they did all of that without me. So I obviously have nothing to do with that. I know you're being snarky, but it's funny, Brian. No smoke bombs in the game, just a wildfire near the game. That's well played.
How many does the place hold?
Like 335, something like that, I believe. The left wing lock, dead stroke. Ooh.
95 dead stroke. Let me tell you, Todd McClellan looked awful after the game last night. Coloring is terrible.
The team was terrible. Good effort they showed last night.
He was incensed. He had one of those 40-second post-game scrums.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So the play-in, the first part of it has come and gone in the NBA. Certain teams have been eliminated, like Miami, like the LA Clippers. All right. Certain teams have advanced into the playoffs as the 7 seed. All right. Like Philadelphia, like Portland. And we'll have winner go home games tomorrow night. Winner becomes the 8 seed. And the loser goes home. This LIV story, I find it ironic that the PGA Tour is in Hilton Head this week, and it's a, quote, elevated event. Mark, were there ever elevated events before LIV?
Well, of course not. I mean, nothing close to it. This is a new phenomenon that came into the PGA Tour because of LIV. We've been on this as quickly as anybody.
A $20 million purse in Hilton Head. A normal PGA Tour event has half that, oftentimes less than half. And they have the LIV to thank. For a couple of years, they were running 80-player no-cut events, just like the LIV was running 54-player no-cut events. Mark, I don't think the LIV, when it goes under, and apparently it's going under, I don't think the LIV is going to be remembered favorably by sports fans and by the golf world, but isn't it basically the USFL?
I think that's a very fair statement. You want to go way back, WHA. Yeah, And you're probably right with the USFL because there'll be no merger. I mean, that's really the only thing left to find out with this is that you're right. Now they are saying they're going to get through this year. The players have been told they're going to get paid through this year. The executives are all scrambling to get jobs. That's your indicator. The people who work for LIV Golf, the high-ranking executives that are getting paid a bunch of money to run this league, are all out looking for work right now.
I was going to say Scott O'Neill was working for the gentleman who I think owns both. He's part owner of the Devils, part owner of the Sixers, and is primary owner of the Commanders, Josh Harris. And he was working for him, and he left that chain, if you will, that company, that umbrella. And he said, no, I'm going to do this. Oops.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Right.
That's a tough one. I mean, when Roll-Up left his job with the NFL to go run the PGA Tour, it certainly seems that he has safety in longevity if he so wants it in the tour. Because, you know, you think of Brian Roll-Up right now, who's running the PGA Tour, he's going to be the guy, whether he has anything to do with it or not, but he's the guy sitting on top when LIV goes down.
And apparently there is a political component to this, that the reason that the Saudis have decided not to just keep throwing their money towards this has to do with what's going on in the Middle East and the price of oil and the future and uncertainty. And they had to sit down, and apparently this was the time frame to map out the rest of the decade into 2030. And they decided, can we guarantee what the rest of the decade's going to look like? And if not, do we really just want to keep throwing a few $100 million a year at this sucker?
By all accounts, they've spent $5.3 billion thus far. And it will get to $6. Now there's a memo that was, that someone got their hands on that apparently they're going to get through this year. That's what they're saying at this particular moment. If that changes, we'll let you know. But right now, according to the memo that was given to the players, all systems go for every event this year. Beyond this year, we have no idea. That's all they guaranteed. And you have to take them at their word that this year, because they could pull the plug on Monday after, Sunday night or Monday after Mexico City.
There was talk the last 36 hours that they weren't even going to tee off today in Mexico City, that they were going to pull the plug in between a Pro-Am and the start of the tournament.
You're right. There was. I didn't see any of that other than people who were reporting. I'm sure they had a source, but that sounds to me like the executives that were losing their job may have thought that. The players never heard that, and maybe they wouldn't have. I don't know.
Well, and the players who are in Mexico City have said, we've been told nothing. We've been told nothing. We're asking you the way you're asking us.
But by yesterday, all accounts, they received a memo that they're playing for the year. So we'll see. To me, David, let's just, for sake of argument, say that everything we're hearing is true and that this is the last year of LIV Golf.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do if you're the PGA Tour? What are you going to, because now you've got all the hand in the world with Rahm and DeChambeau and all of these guys.
Right.
And at the same time, there's a handful of pretty damn popular golfers on the LIV Tour.
Well, in one sense, Mark, you could argue they've set precedent, the whole 1 year thing from the last time you played in an LIV event. And since Reed hadn't played in one since late August of last year, that's why he is eligible to rejoin the PGA Tour in late August of this year. But that was also, and then there was an olive branch, and Koepka took it. Okay, Koepka took it. The other guys didn't. So, Mark, The PGA Tour could follow their precedent with Patrick Reed, but they could also say, yeah, we were in a really forgiving mood a few months ago. We're not in as forgiving a mood now. But does it benefit them at this point to be blankety blanks?
And I guess everything you said, I believe to be accurate, really, and I agree with you. What I'm more interested in, because we, at least, in the Tampa St. Pete market in Southwest Florida, we have a lot of golf fans. I would think in Jacksonville too, but I'm not positive because I've never lived in Jacksonville. I don't know if they just care about the players and then, shut the TV off, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like the Preakness. In Baltimore, they watch the hell out of it. After that, they don't watch another race. Southwest Florida, we watch all of them. But what does the golf fan want to see happen to the golfer? Because, yeah, you can tell DeChambeau and Rahm, they got to sit out a year. You could be harsher than that because I don't think the olive branch comes out they refuse the olive branch. The PGA Tour has a long memory. I don't see the olive branch coming out again, David. I don't.
Okay.
Now, maybe the 1 year thing is there, but what does the fan want to see? Do they want these guys back? Does that make golf? If you're watching golf every week, do you want DeChambeau back on tour sooner than later? Or are you still angry with LIV Golf? Because you have been for the longest time.
If you're DeChambeau and Rahm right now, do you keep playing? Let's just say the PGA Tour is going to go back to a year. Why finish out the year? Yeah, money. There's no doubt. And it's tens of millions if you keep playing. But it also means that you're going to sit out all of next year on the PGA Tour. If you stop now, you're eligible to be back around the Masters next year. Would you keep playing?
Starting 5, that's next.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Sonny, it's kind of funny, to me, Faraday's kind of become, and it doesn't, sometimes they believe in the character of themselves rather. Yeah, Johnny, it looks like it's going to, and look what it did for the PGA Tour. Look at the money it made for those players. No one wants to admit that. The viewing, if it's done anything brown chicken, it's gone up, but the ratings are just abysmal. But, you know, the one thing that's funny is I was reading yesterday, the people that have gone to events wherever, whether they went in Miami, whether they went in Indiana, whether they went wherever, people's experience at this has been terrific. People love going to the events. They do. But the TV viewership has been horrific. But it added more money to the there's no way the PGA Tour purses are what they are without LIV. It's inarguable. The elevated events don't happen without it. Yeah, I had friends that went over there too, and I mean, they thought it was terrific. And there is, you know, they're golf guys, and they loved it. Yeah, I mean, if you say so, Sonny. I mean, I've never seen. I mean, look at their gates have been good in some spots, which would mean obviously their merches. I've never seen anybody wearing LIV Golf stuff. I have to honestly say that, Sonny. I've never in my life, never at the course I'm at, never at any other course, seen somebody wearing LIV. The only golf merch I ever see anybody wear is Masters golf wear, the occasional Ryder Cup or US Open. That's it. I've never seen a LIV t-shirt, a LIV hat. These days I do see a lot of Lightning merch though. When I go on my walks, I would say I see more Lightning than any other team that's not obviously South Florida, because the kids all wear their university stuff. No, I haven't. Pleasant Journeys. I think I would have to do that, after the fact, not before. And I'm not putting out clips or anything like that. I have to be honest, it's a little too much work for me, because it would take hours after the show to do it properly. If we actually had someone whose total job it was to just be clipping this show and putting things out, it would be amazing. But we don't have that kind of budget. In fact, we don't have a budget. We don't have enough sponsors to pay ourselves right now, to be brutally honest. I'm working my ass off just trying to get a couple more people on board. That's what I spend my day doing. But it would be wonderful if we did Pleasant Journeys. It truly would.
I was eating a bagel with butter. With peanut butter.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Bob Harig will join us 1 hour from now to talk about the reported demise of the LIV Tour. And oh yeah, Rory won the Masters again. Bob Harig, scheduled 1 hour from now. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
We'll start with the NBA play-in once again. Orlando can't win games of meaning on the road. Last night was another example, a very winnable game for them in the fourth quarter. Nah. Maxey with 31, overcoming Desmond Bain's 34. If there was a difference, it was beyond the arc. Magic only hit 7 threes, Sixers hit 12. Philly 109, Orlando 97. Philly enters the playoffs as the 7th seed. You get a little Celtics Sixers in the first round. We'll see when Embiid comes back for Philly.
And David, you only had one Orlando Magic player who had multiple threes. That was Bain. Paolo Banchero, 0 for 5 from beyond the arc, 7 for 22 from the floor. I don't know how many turnovers. He's 6 turnovers. He was awful. I mean, he was in the second half, he was terrible. And he's supposed to be their best player. He's supposed to be the guy they can go to. And he made bad decisions. He turned the ball over. I would put the blame more on him than anything else.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating offseason in Orlando. Don't know how many of you care. The coach is getting fired. And whether it's Tibbs or it's somebody else, it will probably be a veteran coach who has accomplished something. They're going to have to pay a coach. But then, Mark, they're going to have to make some serious decisions about this roster. All right. Paolo's clearly their best player. But do you think you can get to where you need to go with him as your best player? You know, are you going to keep sticking with Wagner there, who's gotten hurt and missed like half of each of the last 2 seasons? You're going to keep hoping he stays healthy? Okay. They gave up a lot for Bain. Bain's delivered. Bain's
100%, David. 100%. Cannot argue with that one iota. There's no doubt there. He's been terrific for them.
But it'll be interesting. My guess is they won't be super aggressive breaking this group up. My guess is they're going to think for one more year this group is good enough. It just needs a different voice because clearly these guys, I mean, Paolo has no use for the head coach. None.
I got you, but he's not improved at the rate you need your best player to improve. He's still a young guy.
Yep.
You expect him to get better. And he can't shoot. He's not a good shooter, David. And in that league, that's tough.
I would have loved for us to have been in the meeting at the end of the season to have you just say, listen, I just, nice guy and all. We're paying him a lot of money. He's a good player. But, there are times he can't shoot. And that's really tough. Yes. Mark, I agree. So Philly advances. Orlando hosts Charlotte Friday. Winners the 8th seed. Loser season is over. Meanwhile, the Golden State Warriors, winners of just 37 regular season games, down 13 early fourth quarter. And the old guys said, follow us. Between 38-year-old Steph Curry, 39-year-old Al Horford, 30-year-old Kristaps Porzingis, but his body is AARP eligible. And 37-year-old Draymond Green? Green
Sounds
with
right.
2 big defensive plays on Kawhi down the stretch. Steph with numerous second half threes. He had 35. He had the game-winning shot, tie game, 50 seconds to go. Another one of those threes falling out of bounds with 2 guys on him, by the way. Golden State 126, the LA Clippers 121. I mean, come on. Don't you want to see Steph and the boys in the playoffs, even if it lasts a week?
Yeah, because that, in my little bet of 8 seeds, they can steal a game just with him going for 50, if you know what I mean, David. And Draymond's 36 for the record.
Gotcha. Golden State 126, the LA Clippers 121. Clippers are done. That's it. Bye-bye. So long, farewell. Now maybe the league will really punish Ballmer. Right. Golden State at Phoenix Friday night to see who's the 8 seed. So who will play Oklahoma City. 6 games in the NHL on the second to last night of the regular season. Rangers double up the Lightning in the last game for both teams 4-2. Tampa Bay finished with 106 points, tied with Montreal, but they're in second because they have more regulation wins. It'll be the Lightning and Les Habitants, coached by Martins and Louis, in a best-of-7 first-round series beginning this weekend. Panthers beat the Red Wings 8-1. Florida's going to get a top 10 pick of the draft unless the lottery is unkind to them. And after the game, Wings coach Todd McClellan held one of those 30, 40-second post-game scrums. And he was asked about, is this a fitting end to the season? And he said, well, I don't know if I'd go there, but one team has championship pedigree and clearly another team doesn't. All right, there we go. Come on, guys, speak your mind. Rick Bowness the night before, Todd McClellan, don't hold back anymore. Come on.
Yeah, they might not have jobs next year, but they're going out on their terms. That's for certain, David. I mean, you got to give them credit. But Miller and Moulton give them the utmost credit for that. Those are our kind of guys, right?
Yep. They ain't trying to save their jobs at the end of the season. They're just letting you know how much they think you guys suck. Dallas beat Buffalo in a shootout 4-3. Stars with 112 points. Sabres with 109. I bring that up because it's possible they could meet in the Stanley Cup Finals and Dallas would have home ice. Ottawa beat Toronto 3-1, but Ottawa knows that they're going to face Carolina in the first round of the playoffs. Nothing changed last night. Final broadcast for Maple Leafs broadcasting legend Joe Bowen. 44 years as the voice of the Leafs. It ended last night. Who's the gentleman I sent you that?
Paul Woods.
40 years with the Wings, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Bruce Martin was their play-by-play guy, and Bruce was an amazing guy. I had a good friend of mine who knew him, and when I was young in broadcasting, got me in touch with Bruce. I sent him a tape. He critiqued it. He was just a wonderful man, and I remember Bruce Martin and Paul Woods, and then Bruce retired, and Paul went on for many more years. And he was my voice when I first got into the Wings. It was Paul Woods doing color on the radio, and just finished this past year. What a career!
Chicago beat San Jose 5-2. Vegas clinched the division title with a 4-1 win over the Kraken, and that means that it'll be Las Vegas and the Utah Mammoth in a first-round playoff series. So still to be determined who finishes second in the Pacific, who finishes third, and who finishes as the second wild card to go get swept by the Avs.
Unless, of course, that's Edmonton. I don't think they'd get swept by the Avs because Edmonton could still finish as the wild card. There is 1 point separating 3 teams in the Pacific and then the last wild card.
Edmonton likely to start the playoffs, however, without Draisaitl and Hyman. Okay, they think Draisaitl will be back very early in the first round series. Regular season ends tonight. Playoffs start Saturday in the NHL. Baseball, Braves hit 3 homers, beat the Marlins 6-3. Braves in first at 12-7. Marlins fall a game below 500. The Rays win their 5th straight, 8-3 over the White Sox. They're in first. Boston slowed down Minnesota 9-5. Trevor Story with a homer and 5 RBIs. So the Angels had a 4-3 lead in the 9th, 1 out, 1 on. Infield pop-up, and they dropped it. And they didn't mean to. So the Yankees get a second guy on board, still have 1 out, and then a 2 RBI double, and they win it. So 5-4 Yankees with a rally in the 9th. Arizona got a 3-run homer from Castillo in the 10th to beat Baltimore 8-5. Milwaukee snapped the 6-game skid. They beat the Blue Jays 2-1. Toronto, who nearly won the World Series last year, off to a 7-10 start. Cubs get back to 500 with an 11-2 win over the Phillies. Nico Horner with 5 RBIs. Mets have lost 7 in a row. Ohtani with 6 one-run innings and 10 strikeouts in an 8-2 win over New York.
You see the story on Ohtani? He is basically all in. He wants the Cy Young now. Like, he didn't DH when he pitched last night. He is apparently taking even more of a focus on the pitching part of his game this year. So just something to watch.
And the funny thing is, the guy who they put in the lineup in place of Ohtani homered. Of course he did. It's the Dodgers. Pirates with 2 in the first, beat Washington 2-0. Cardinals with 3 in the sixth, beat the Guardians 5-3. The Reds, Sal Stewart, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, 8-3 over the Giants. And the Padres with 5 in the ninth to beat Seattle 7-6. Your Tigers have won 5 in a row, Mark. They're back to 500. They beat KC 2-1. Jordan Alvarez homered for the Astros in a 3-1 win over Colorado. And for the first time in 5 years, the don't call me Oakland, not yet Las Vegas, Sacramento A's are in first place. The A's beat Texas 6-5. Golf, PGA Tour's in Hilton Head for the RBC Heritage. It's a signature event, so the purse is $20 million. Justin Thomas is the defending champ. No Rory. Scheffler's there. Cameron Young's there. No Rory. Big story, however, in golf, the future of LIV Golf. Numerous reports saying that the tour is going to end at the end of this year. Fox News even reporting it all day yesterday. LIV is in Mexico City this week for a $30 million event. That gets underway today. An announcement expected of some kind concerning the tour by the tour later today. And finally, NFL Dolphins GM John Eric Sullivan says that, Devon Achane is not available. We are not interested in trading him. In fact, we are negotiating a long-term extension with him right now, and things are going pretty well. Achane entering the final year of his contract. He had 1,350 yards last year. Since he's come into the league, he leads the league at 5.7 yards a carry. So there you have it. He's one of the 3, quote, pillars that the Dolphins say they are going to build around. And, this is just awful. The NFL has started the process, Mark, of essentially hiring replacement officials because they're, vetting guys. Make sure they pass the security and all that. The contract with the officials expires May 31st. And the NFL is going forward as if they are going to go down this route again. Remember last time, the Monday Night Football game in Seattle? Yeah. So this is a $23 billion league? Really? You can't work this out?
David, and the point you made a few weeks ago with Pat Kerwin, to me, is the one that I'm waiting for. The billions of dollars that the networks are spending for this league, at what point do they call Roger Goodell and tell him to get his head firmly out of his you-know-what and get this done? How are you going to give this product, which we watched not too long ago, be horrible with the officials, the replacement officials, and take the money you're taking from these networks?
Hey, these networks are almost as scared of the NFL as everybody is when the folks at Augusta talk to you, especially since the NFL's got their, negotiating doors open for the future contract.
It does make what's going on in Washington with the NFL very interesting for their TV negotiations going forward. It is a story that Miller and Moulton will pay attention to in the coming months.
Correction, the Mets have lost 8 in a row, not 7. And that was the starting 5. 5 big stories you needed to know here on Miller and Moulton.
How about them Mets?
How about them Mets? General manager has the team he wanted.
Almost want to play the song right now. what song's more appropriate, the Dolphin song or the Mets song?
Yep.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Might have been on a convenience puck, but he was hit in the face with the ball, and he's not worked a game since. He took a foul tip off the mask. It's been 2 weeks ago, and they may have just decided not to put him back, but that's the last game he worked. Was he concussed? I have no idea. And to PJAD, who said Chuck Caton, another wonderful human being. What a nice guy Chuck Caton is. Had the pleasure of meeting him several times. He is a very good man. And to the person who asked, is it a grift? Is the LIV a grift? So they're con? Is that what you're asking me? No, they wanted to do what they wanted to do. I get it, Johnny. Oh, you hate LIV Golf. A lot of you hate LIV Golf. Miller and Moulton were never in that camp. If they wanted to keep going, trust me, they've got the money. But it looks like, have decided that $6 billion is going to be enough. And the tour is, you can say what you want. You love the PGA Tour. That's great. But if you think the PGA Tour was going to get the purses that they're getting without LIV, I think you're sorely mistaken. And I'm not, and that's being nice. Well, I think they're going to more than likely, Shimko. I would, if I were a betting man, I would say they're going to do to all of them what they did to Reed. I don't know how you offer the olive branch to DeChambeau and Rahm again. I don't. They turned it down. Now, to me, Rahm doesn't do a damn thing for the PGA Tour. He's just as boring as the other guys out there. DeChambeau, you may not like him, and if you don't like him, I totally get it. And Cam Smith did nothing, but he does nothing for the tour either in this country. He's not moving the needle. Jules, you are a big golf fan. You really are. Well, he almost missed the cut. He shouldn't have missed the cut because he made the cut, putt. No, I'm not saying pathetic. You're just a big golf fan, Jules. That's not pathetic. That's not at all a knock on you, young lady. I am just merely saying you're a big golf fan. So when you bring up these names, I think you got to remember how much you love the sport. Bryson DeChambeau moves the needle. People watch because of him. That's the only LIV player currently that people would turn on the television for. That's it. To me, the bigger question, and I don't know how much LIV, we got Bob coming up. There are other things to talk about. Phil on the senior tour would sell a boatload of tickets. A boatload. And he hasn't played all year. So when did his suspension start? Okay, once, but once. You know what I'm...
Right. Right. If Phil... I'm assuming Phil's not in Mexico since he wasn't at the Masters. But he played in March in his only event of the year. So in theory, if they do a year...
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday, final day of the NHL regular season. A week from today, the sports world will be focused on Pittsburgh and the first round of the NFL draft. We'll see just how active it is. I think it'll be a goober draft. And by that, you need to be into offensive tackles, edge rushers, and wide receivers.
And wide receivers that are not big names. It's one thing, David, when we have guys... Keyshawn went first. There's been times in which we've had some sexy receivers out there. Receivers that we knew via college that were big players and had big moments. So receivers can be sexy, but I'm not sure that KC Concepcion is a sexy guy in this draft. That Omar Cooper is a guy that people are getting excited about. You've got Tate, you've got Lemon, and to some extent you got Tyson, because the kid from Arizona State, there are a lot of people that think he can be really good. But, one Ohio State guy, one USC guy, and then after that, it's a bunch of guys that didn't play a lot of big games, if you know what I mean.
So that's the draft, at least the first round, and then you'll get a whole lot of corners and running backs after that. So
I'm more interested in what happens at the bottom end of the draft. And this is you and Pat have made me geek out, because now I'm looking at mock drafts and going, okay, who these guys that are doing 2-round mocks, who are the guys in the second round that are projected to be possible first round guys? Like Mel Kiper just did a 2-round mock. And I don't know how much we buy into Mel Kiper anymore, David. I get it. But he's got Denver in the second round getting Caleb Banks. Pick 62. This is a guy that Pat has going late in the first round in his draft. And I don't know if Pat's right. I don't know if Mel Kiper's right, because there are medical issues with Banks. So that, these receivers that we're talking about, if the run goes on a different position, which receivers drop, Kiper has, I believe, Arizona jumping back into the first round to get Ty Simpson late. No one else does, but it's not uncommon to see a team, if they want that quarterback, in order to make sure the Jets don't get him with pick 33, you've got to go back into the first round to get him. So I do think, where you like the trades, David, and you love trades in a draft, I think the back end of the draft is where we're going to get the substantial amount of the trades.
Well, I definitely think you'll have one. And you hit on it, Mark. I think it'll be the Ty Simpson trade. All right. Because there's a lot of talk that the Jets are going to take him. Therefore, if you are a team that is really interested in him, like the Giants were with Jackson Dart, and the Giants traded back into the first round last year, and they made sure they got ahead of certain teams who they knew were either negotiating trades or could possibly take him. And so the Giants jumped back in, I think at 25, and took Dart. Mark, it wouldn't surprise me if the Jets don't wait till 33. If the Jets move up 3-4 spots and make sure they get Ty Simpson, because otherwise they have to punt entirely this year and get their quarterback next year.
And, David, when I look at the teams that are drafting late, if Kansas City doesn't make a move with Dallas, let's say Dallas makes a move with Cleveland that seemingly everybody is predicting now. So Kansas City picks at 9, and then they have picked 29. Don't you think that's look, I don't think the Dolphins are going to take a quarterback, but they need one. If this guy doesn't work, Willis doesn't work out, do they, there's been talk that, so I would want to get ahead of Miami. So, would Kansas City, who needs players, who needs bodies, would they be willing to go to 34 with a little extra punch in the draft to give Arizona that spot? That seems like a possibility to me.
Probably all depends on who has been taken and who has fallen. Pat mentions all the time, you do the deal when it's simple. You put a list of 5 guys. If you still have 5 guys that you really want, then you can move down 4 spots. And then just keep doing the math. If you only have a list of 4 guys, then you can only move down 3 spots, et cetera, et cetera. We were doing that yesterday with the Cowboys. We were trying to figure out, we were doing essentially during 2 commercial breaks, we did 2 Cowboys mock drafts. Could they sit at 12 and get their guy? And both times we came to the conclusion they ain't going to be happy with what's on the board at 12.
Because we think that they want, we think they would, to be honest, I think they would love Styles. Someone to quarterback that defense, wear the green dot and be their guy for 8 to 10 years. And most think Styles can be that guy. So,
and a lot of people have Styles to Washington, and that's 7. So
bingo.
You can see why the Cowboys are very interested in moving to 6. Now, I don't think Washington can go wrong. I think Washington's going to have someone that they consider to be an elite defensive player who's still on the board. And Washington's defense was old and bad last season. And so Washington, I think, is smiling. They're like, whatever anybody does, we'll be fine. We've done all the mock drafts. Especially with Mendoza going, Jeremiah Love? Okay, that's 2. The worst case scenario for Washington is no offensive players besides those 2 go. So then 4 defensive players come off the board? Okay. I think they think there's at least 5 good defensive players in this draft.
And even if Washington shocks us, David, and goes receiver, this is where, to me, the Cowboys have to make this move to Cleveland. Because let's just say, for you-know-what and giggles, Washington decides to take Tate. I don't think they will. I'm with you. I think they go defense. But let's just say they do, just for sake of argument. Well, the other team that was linked with Tate mostly is the New Orleans Saints. You think they're going receiver after Tate goes? Hell no. They need defense too. So whatever defensive player Washington doesn't take, if they go offense, you've got to believe that the Saints are going to take.
And the Saints would be happy. They're like, oh, wow. It's even a better defensive player falling to us than I thought we'd get.
And
I'm curious about where you think the floor is for Bain. Because I know where it would be for me. I mean, I'm all in on the guy. And if I'm drafting for the Giants, I'm taking him at 5. I don't think that's going to happen, though.
that's the ceiling, by the way, to me.
Right.
Like, that's as high as he gets. Let's, if you're right, I don't think anybody 1 through 4 is taking him. I don't think Tennessee would take him at 4.
And what I'm wondering is, if you're Dallas and you have a choice, Bain or Styles, who are you taking?
Well, first off, I don't think either's there at 12. For what
No,
it's
no.
worth.
Well, we were just talking. I'm sorry. We were
No, no.
talking about the Cowboys moving up to 6.
Yeah, if the
So
Cowboys move up to 6, David, I would take Bain because I think he's an interesting player in that, one, he's a game wrecker. I mean, look, I've never tried to proclaim myself to be an expert on line play, but did you watch this guy? I mean, he was a freak. And what you and Pat have me very intrigued by is you can move him on the inside. So he's kind of a multifaceted rusher, and there's not a lot of those out there. And it's a position that I think is of more value than the linebacker position. But David, you asked me what his floor is. I think it's the Miami. I mean, look, I think Dallas would take him at 12, obviously, but I can't see, let's just say Styles and Bain slip a little bit. I can't see those two players getting past the Bengals and Dolphins, if you know what I mean.
agreed.
So 11 is my spot. And that's if Kansas City doesn't take Bain, because I think they would too. I think they'd do the happy dance if he was there at 9.
Yeah, I think it's Kansas City at 9 is the floor, but you're right. The absolute floor for a couple of guys is you just can't imagine that both Cincinnati and Miami would pass on certain guys. Miami needs a whole roster, and Cincinnati needs defense desperately.
Now, if Bain happens to be there at 11, if you're the Cowboys, do you just have to give something to Miami to make sure they don't draft him? And by the way, Dolphin, if Bain's there and they don't take him, would that make you angry? And, I mean, we've got someone in the chat room because, yes, because of the short arms and a 2-year-old incident, there are mock drafts that have Bain slipping. I've not seen him slip. Think about it. If he's there at 15, Bucks fan, and you don't take him, holy Toledo.
Browns fans, if they do the trade with Dallas and he's somehow, some way still on the board at 12, Browns fans would be like, I know he's great value, but you went defense with your first 2 picks last year. Our offense is dreadful. Don't take him. You want to trade again? Fine, but do not take him. Sapp fell to 12. No, that was
Right.
because of marijuana, but Sapp fell. He went from 1 to 12.
By the way, isn't that kind of funny when we look back right now, the fact that pot's basically legal everywhere and guys had a free fall in the draft because they smoked weed?
Yeah.
They don't even test for it now.
No.
If they, unless you're a habitual user of drugs, you get tested once and they're, we're good. Knock yourself out, boys.
Minnesota was drafted 11th. And they desperately John Randall needed help. Oh, they're going to take Warren Sapp, right? No, they took Derek Alexander, defensive end, Florida State. Denny Green came out, not only was asked, and he said, well, we had Alexander ahead of Sapp on our board. Now, that could technically be because, once the marijuana, we took Sapp off the board. But then he was asked, do you think Alexander's a better player? And he said yes, to try to defend the draft pick. It wasn't a bad draft for the Bucks. They got Sapp and the Derek Brooks in the first round that year.
That's what the Miami Dolphins are thinking. That's the type of players they need. That's what the Cleveland Browns are thinking. These teams with multiple first-round picks have to be successful. Miller and Moulton.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Johnny, I know you hate LIV and Bryson, but he has over 2.5 million viewers on YouTube. The Masters video of every shot Rory took at Augusta did 800,000 views. Bryson puts out a video, they get 2 million pops. And I know that doesn't mean anything to most of you who are a little bit older, but if you're growing the game, what's important to you? What does the NBA hang their hat on? The fact that people are watching their videos and how young their audience is compared to everyone else. Yeah, Bryson doesn't do crap is what you said. You're just wrong. I'm sorry, you're wrong. At the Ryder Cup, who was the one guy the American fan was into more than anybody? Bryson DeChambeau. But I'll argue with you all day on it. I truly will, because I'm going to win. Should the poll question be what should the suspension be for the LIV players for next year, or is that just too golf nerdy?
It is a little golf nerdy, but I don't know if there's anything else out there that's interesting.
Right. Shimko, I think, like I said it yesterday, I don't recall an athlete changing their image in any sport the way Bryson has done. I've watched the whole show. I've watched both seasons, Puck. Well, I finished it yesterday. Just Billy Bob Thornton is so. I mean, the writers are great, but he obviously has to deliver the lines. Man, I laugh every show at the stuff he says. Every show.
Sonny, no one moved the needle like Tiger except for Arnold Palmer. Bryson moved the needle. That in and of itself is significant. Phil moved the needle. Rory moves the needle. Bryson moves the needle.
Yeah, DC, I don't, but remember, before Colorado, everybody loved Kobe. They didn't love what happened in Colorado. So Bryson wasn't liked. I mean, Bryson was disliked. He was booed. He was mocked. He was teased. When he and Koepka were going at it, everybody was on Koepka's side. He goes to LIV. Everybody that goes to LIV is pond scum, and somehow he built his brand. I'm telling you. I mean, I know I get what you're saying, DC, but I disagree because Kobe was incredibly popular before Colorado. Did he have to build it up after? But they all loved him, so they just didn't believe anything. Maybe that's the question. Would you watch more golf if Bryson was on the PGA Tour? You know, more or less the same. But remember, DC, Kobe fan before Colorado still defended him after. That's, to me, the big difference.
Yeah, Bryson changed people's minds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Bob Harig to join us in a little more than 15 minutes to discuss the apparent demise of the LIV Tour. What's being reported as of last night is that the tour will be done at the end of the year. It will be financed to the end of the season, but that the money behind the tour has decided we need to spend it elsewhere on other things. So there you have it. It'll be a $6 billion failed investment. And I wonder, Mark, if it will in any way, will people try to down the road give it any credit at all the way they have given the USFL, the ABA, the WHA? Okay, as time went on, those leagues got more popular. They were given more credit for what their contributions were to the NBA, the NHL, and the NFL.
Does it matter what oil prices are for that to happen?
It might.
Just saying.
It might.
David, we admit on this show when we are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And we also probably talk more about television ratings than maybe any show that's a regional and or a national show.
Agreed.
Were we wrong? And is our audience wrong as well? Because our audience is anti-NBA. They are. They've let us know. I mean, we put up, what do you watch more, NHL or NBA? Gary Bettman should come on this show monthly for how much our audience loves the NHL versus the NBA. It's not close. It's crazy to me. But our audience loves hockey and they don't like the NBA. There's not 5 spots on earth that you really can say that. I mean, what, Buffalo? But did you see what the NBA has put out with what their television ratings were year to year.
Yes.
They are claiming an 86% jump in ratings year to year. 86%
Mm-hmm.
in the regular season.
Everybody's ratings are up. Everybody's. No one's had a downturn. They talked about how much better the All-Star Game ratings were than in recent past years. Yeah, the All-Star Game was on TNT. This year it was on a network. So, I mean, people are doing a deep dive on this, Mark. How much of this is taking numbers and exploiting them by the NBA? And how much of this is real? And you and me, most of the people who listen to this show, and many a national commentator, okay, because if these numbers are real, the Colin Cowherds of the world are going to go back talking about the NBA.
Exactly.
Because they stopped talking about the NBA because they started to believe that not only is the product not good, but that people aren't watching it like they used to. Therefore, I need to talk about it less. And that's not what the NBA came out and said in the last 48 hours.
No, and the timing by the NBA could not have been better, because for the last two nights, you know what's been really good? The NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Philadelphia pulled away from Orlando late, but that was a game late in the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, 3 minutes left in the game, that's still a basketball game. I mean, they made a big three with about 90 seconds left, and then, okay, it's over. But that was a game for most of the night.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the second game with Steph was a good game, big comeback, and who wins? Maybe I guess, I don't know who the most popular player in that league is anymore, but Steph is still up there. I'm not saying best, I'm saying most popular, because LeBron's polarizing. He's probably the most popular still. I don't know. But Steph's pretty damn popular. And what did he do last night? The old guy led his team to a victory. The night before, both play-in games were terrific. Mm-hmm. They were.
It's an interesting question. Maybe we'll do it during the summer when we need to kill time on the show and there's not as much to talk about. But if you could go back in time, okay, not now, but you can just go back in time.
Sorry, I just thought it needed a sound effect.
If you had the number one pick in the draft and both LeBron and Steph were in that draft, and you now have seen their careers and what they've done and what they've contributed and what fans think of them, if you owned a team, which one would you choose?
Well, on the other side of it is if you just take what they did in their careers, you can't, I mean, you could say I'd be the great owner that would have kept LeBron through all of it, because I would take LeBron if he was playing with my team the whole time. But think about it. LeBron played for a bunch of teams.
Right.
Steph played for one. If you're an owner, Steph played for one franchise. I mean, he made you more money.
Right.
The league made more money off LeBron. But I would argue that the Warriors made more money than the Cavs, if you know what I mean.
But for as great as LeBron is, LeBron didn't change the game. Steph has changed the game. The league didn't shoot threes like that before Steph Curry. They didn't. Now, you could argue he changed it for the worse, but he's also made the little guy, the guy who can shoot the three. Look, 20 years later, those guys are everywhere in college. It's all because of him.
But to your earlier question, that because he changed the game, does that help you more as an owner? I'm literally talking about I own the Warriors or I own the Cavs. That's.
But also, has there been anyone more likable than him? Listen,
No. One of the most likable players to ever. David, he's on the short list of most likable guys to ever play sports. Really and truly is.
And if you're an owner, I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's an interesting question. A buddy of mine talks about it all the time. But Mark, do you believe what the NBA came out and said?
Mostly, because here's why I'm going to, David. If we're going to come on this show and talk about how great television numbers are for every damn sport out there, and while we think the numbers are a little jaded because of the new rating system, I can't sit here and say, well, hockey's killing it, and well, this college basketball's killing it, and this sport's killing it, but the NBA numbers, they lie. I can't.
The 170 million number, they said that's how many people watch their games this year. That one I don't buy. That's half the country. I mean, I think officially last census we're at like 330. Okay, that's over half the country has watched a part of an NBA game this year. I don't believe that for a second. I think that you add up all the clicks, if you know what I mean, you can get to 170, but that, you're counting the same person a few times.
But just as simple as 16% jump in average viewers for games on NBC, ABC, Peacock, Amazon Prime. It's averaging 1.78 million a game. It's the highest in 7 years. Yeah, I believe that. Do I think the new ratings have helped? Do I think the fact that it's on more networks now helped? Absolutely.
I was going to say, is that the difference going from Turner to NBC? Because you went from two, you had a network and multiple cable. Now you've got two networks and streaming.
So I do, look, I'm not going to sit there and defend every other sports entity for growing and say, well, the NBA numbers just aren't true. That's asinine.
Agreed.
So the timing, though, I think is perfect, because here's the best time of the year for the league. When everybody plays and there's no load management. And it's amazing. Guys actually play on back-to-back nights. Millerand, Moulton. Bob Harig next.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Faro and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Faro and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Faro and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Millerand Moulton.
By the way, Johnny O, I don't know if you're still there, but to just let you know, in quick searches, Bryson DeChambeau is second to only Tiger in his influence on young golfers. No one moves the needle in the 18 to 34 market more than Bryson DeChambeau, because he's more than a golfer. he's actually considered a sports influencer and one of the more popular sports influencers in that age demographic. You can hate on Bryson all you want. Knock yourself out. He moves the needle with young people. That's what the facts say. That's what the numbers say. Go spend 10 minutes and look it up. Spend 30 seconds and look it up instead of just your opinion. Look some stuff up. I mean, you're right about everything, bro. Yeah, I went bro, David. I went bro.
Did go bro. That's old school. Yo, bro. Listen, bro. Hey, bro.
I'm not saying you, Johnny. I'm talking to a different Johnny on YouTube who just is always right and hates this show, but listens to it. I mean, cannot say enough nasty things to David on a regular basis, and then me whenever he gets the opportunity. But he still listens, and he's always right. Yeah, I said yes when you said it the first time. I'm on. Young golfers are what young people are. And the other thing that Bryson does is he goes and plays with all those YouTube creators. So that broadens his reach. You don't see Rory doing that. Scheffler wouldn't even think of it. It's not that he's better than them. I don't think that he is. I'm literally telling you, according to the numbers. Oh, please do, Adam. Thank you. Yes, John Daly did move the needle. John Daly's what? 50 what? Absolutely moved the needle in his day.
I think he's close to 60.
That's what I think too. He's got to be older than I am.
Well, how old was he in 91 when he won the PGA? That was 35 years ago. I mean,
yeah, he's 59. He'll be 60 later this month. Let us know when you got Bob, Rick. But Puck, what we're saying is not both is true because actually the older people in here all seem to like him. You may not.
yeah.
Did he? Okay. I don't know what Bob does sports with but I mean, I don't see Scheffler moving the needle, but maybe he does. Maybe, you know what?
Bob's ready to go.
Thank you.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. He's authored another book. It'll be released nationally on May 5th. You can pre-order it. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, some of the places you can pre-order and get it at. It's Tiger v. Jack, the great debate. It's Bob Harig. He covers golf for Sports Illustrated. Follow him on X at Bob Harig, Harig. Bob, best of luck with the book. You know we'll help you along. We appreciate what you've contributed to the show over the years. A simple question to begin. As best you can tell, what's going on with LIV?
Yeah, boy, I wish I knew all the answers to that question. I think based on what I've learned here in the last 36 hours, look, they're going to go on. They're playing today in Mexico City. I would be shocked if they didn't play the rest of their season. But there's clearly some distress financially. Not that the PIF can't afford it. They can. It's that it appears they have decided that they don't want to keep funding it to the level that they are. And, you know, when you're an entity that has struggled to come up with major revenue streams that are needed in sports today, that's a problem. I mean, financial disclosures pointed out earlier this year that they kicked in another $260-some million on February 1st. The PIF did. Well, maybe they've told them that's it. You know, so I'm sure that can sustain them this year. But when you have $30 million purses every week and a $50 million purse at your team event, you know, do the math. That infusion barely covers that. And there's way more costs beyond that. So, look, there's a lot of smoke. At one point yesterday, there were reports that they were going to pull the plug this week. I never fully bought into that. But the fact that LIV was not responding to legitimate media reports throughout the day just fueled that. I finally, you know, got some, you know, indications from them after 6 p.m. Eastern time yesterday. I mean, I had started on Tuesday night at reaching out to get some sort of clarification from them. So, you know, I think we all wondered how long they'd want to keep spending this kind of money. And it reminds me of a great George Allen, the old football coach who were then called the Washington Redskins long ago. I remember reading this, and it just always struck me. It was funny. He was the coach and general manager, and he said, "I had an unlimited budget, but I exceeded it." And you know, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like they've got all, you know, LIV is a rounding error to the PIF, but at some point you look and you go, look at what we're spending here. And you know, the PIF just announced yesterday, I mean, I don't know if this is the timing or not, but you know, some new objectives with their fund. You know, they are invested in companies all over the world. It's a huge sovereign wealth fund, but their mandate was to be more locally centered, and so LIV Golf wasn't mentioned, but maybe you can look at that and say, hey, they're pulling in the reins. The war hasn't helped. I think they're a little bit spooked about that. And here we are. It's trickled down into, you know, a multi-million-dollar golf entity and caused a lot of concern yesterday.
If you were to look at it and try to pick out where they failed, because there have been crowds at a lot of their events. The people that I know that went over to Miami raved about the experience, but I know they never garnered much of a TV audience, but they never seemed to have sponsorship. So when you look at it from a failing standpoint, who steered them wrong and where did they go wrong with not being able to create any revenue?
Yeah, that's there's a lot to unpack there. I give them, a little bit of a runway, and it was going to take some time. It is a startup. I think one of the ways they went wrong early on was pushing the team concept so quickly, and not letting that develop. Because not one of their franchises has been sold. That was the idea. That was going to be a huge revenue source for LIV. They were going to sell their teams, and those, and the captains were getting 25% equity in the team. But so let's say they sold a team for $100 million, and let's say you sold 10 of the teams for that. Well, that's $1 billion back to LIV. Minus the 25% to the captains. That's a huge chunk. And then the teams become responsible for the players, for the travel, and LIV just runs the league, and they share the TV revenue and things like that with the teams. Well, that hasn't happened. They're 5 years in. They've not sold one team. That has hurt them. It hasn't helped that they've not found TV windows to be separate from the PGA Tour, which is why I always thought they needed a deal more than Tour did, because they needed the pathways that would allow you and me and others, if we wanted to watch them as opposed to competing. So without a robust TV deal, think about it in sports. There is no major sport worldwide that exists without a huge TV deal. I think most people know that all the salaries of players in the NFL are paid for before they open the doors by the TV rights deal that the NFL has. The teams get a chunk of money that covers their salaries and then some. That's amazing when you think about it. Obviously MLB and the NBA and even the NHL, they have TV deals that cover a good chunk of the bills. LIV doesn't have that. By all reports and what you can gather, the deal with Fox is it's very modest. LIV pays for the production costs. LIV pays the salaries of the broadcast team and the travel. So what they're getting back, they probably don't even break even on that. Whereas the PGA Tour, again, look, it's different, a lot more tournaments, but they have $700 million domestic rights deal. That $700 million would cover all their purses. They would double it, and still the tour needs robust sponsorship to make money. So that's a couple of starting points where I think they've struggled. And if you look at some of their events, their sponsors are PIF-related companies, Riyadh Air, Aramco. Those are Saudi-owned companies. So it's taking money from one pocket and putting it into the other. That's not really helping their bottom line that much.
Right. He's Bob Harig, covers golf for Sports Illustrated. Follow him on X at Bob Harig, Harig. Coming out on May 5th, his latest book, Tiger v. Jack, The Great Debate. You can pre-order it on Amazon. It'll be available at Barnes & Noble and Target stores May 5th. That's less than 3 weeks. Be a great Father's Day gift. All right, let's go forward. How do you think the PGA Tour is going to respond, besides gloating, which they should, to LIV going under? Do you think they're going to offer the guys the Koepka deal, the Patrick Reed deal, or since they decided to stay, they're going to be hard line?
Yeah, I think that's interesting in light of this recent news. I think if they believe that LIV is going to go under at the end of the year, I think they would just wait for that to happen first. I don't think they're, as long as there's a possibility that LIV is existing, they are not going to back off their current plan. They need to have a deterrent still from people going over there, and that's why they've done it this way. Like I was actually just in Bradenton yesterday. I went down there to the senior PGA, and Pat Perez and Henrik Stenson are playing, and it's their first time in the, playing senior golf. And Perez, who was on LIV for 3 years and then last year did broadcast stuff, is not allowed to play the Champions Tour this year. The reason he's playing the senior PGA is because it's a major. He can play 3 majors. He cannot play the tour run events. And even as a broadcaster last year, they viewed that as a violation of their media rights. So he is not allowed to play until he's suspended, basically until, first of all, after his last LIV event a year. And then they tacked on the rest of the year because he played his first year while still a member of the PGA Tour. He never resigned. I mean, and they're holding to that. We're talking about Pat Perez, a guy who won 3 times on the PGA Tour, but they are holding firm on that. I don't think they will back off any of that stuff unless LIV for sure is done. As long as they might smell blood in the water right now. And they may be behind the scenes, might go to some players and say, hey, look, if you quit now. But again, that's tough for those players. Most of them are under contract to LIV. I'm not sure they want to violate their contract. So I think you'll kind of see the status quo until we know a little more.
All right, let's just say LIV folds. Will every player be treated the same that's leaving LIV, or will the DeChambeaus and the Rahms and the Cam Smiths and maybe Phil for the Champions Tour get treated differently than everyone else?
I think they'll do it based, the easiest way for them to do it is based on what will be their eligibility. The DeChambeau, Rahm, Cam Smith have eligibility on the PGA Tour as major winners. Those 5-year exemptions would allow them to play. And so I think they would treat them like they treated Koepka. Somebody like, I'll just throw a name out there, Thomas Peters, Charles Howell. Those guys don't have status. Charles Howell would have past champion status, which doesn't get you much. There's no way they can just allow them right back, because you've got a whole membership that didn't leave and now isn't going to want the competition, so I think they have to treat them rather strongly. They will probably do the same thing they did with Koepka. They won't be allowed to take part in this player equity program. They might not be allowed to get sponsor invites to signature events. There might be some period of time that they have to sit out. I think they'll be pretty hard line because there's not the room for them anyway. It's a tour where, you've got to earn your way. And if you don't have status, I think they're going to have, Monday qualify, maybe sponsor invites to lesser events. And then, or, go to Q school.
He's Bob Harig, and he's got a beat that is not boring these days. He covers golf worldwide for Sports Illustrated at SI.com. You can follow Bob on X at Bob Harig, Harig. Remember, May 5th, Tiger v. Jack, the great debate. Available, pre-order at Amazon, and you'll find it in Barnes & Noble and Target beginning May 5th. Bob, thanks for doing this, particularly on short notice. Safe travels, and we'll talk down the road.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you having me. Have a good one.
Bob Harig joining us once again on Miller and Moulton, brought to you on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Well, there you have it. I mean, he thinks they're going to be pretty hard. And the players he mentioned don't do it. I love Hatton. Hatton makes me laugh. He's like a regular guy out there. He wears it on his sleeve. I enjoy watching him play. I enjoyed watching him play at the Masters. I like seeing his highlights on different social video things out there. But the past champions, the major champions, he says, they still have eligibility. So it will be different for the Cam Smiths, the John Rahms, and the Bryson DeChambeaus of the world.
I wonder if they'll ever make nice with Phil again. And will he make nice with them? Both networks would fall all over themselves to have him as their lead analyst. And like you said, Mark, the tickets he would sell on the Champions Tour, oh my goodness.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
All right. Here's where I'm at with that, Paul. If the onions are in a bag and they are weighed by the pound, it is one item. If the onions are per onion, it is two items.
Yes, Sonny, she does.
I did look it up. Not Dustin Johnson, but I looked up the show.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home on this Thursday, final day of the NHL regular season. 1 week tonight is the NFL draft. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. By the way, we were just talking with Bob Harig, covers golf for a living. What would you do quickly? PGA Tour, you're the new guy. All right, they fit the LIV finishes out the year. What would
And they
you
fold,
do?
right? You're saying
And
they
then they
finish
fold.
out the
They're
year and
done.
then they fold. Okay.
They're done. I think the team events in October, but so they're done. They're done. What do you do?
Well, I think Bob makes a great point. You've got an out with the major champions, and I don't think you can put Bryson on per se and not give Rahm and Cam Smith the same olive branch. So I would consider doing that because they are major champions. And I know for a fact that Bryson moves the needle. I don't have to admit it. I've got an out. I would try to more than likely give everybody the same path that Patrick Reed did. They want to go play on the deep because the DP World Tour can get you to the PGA Tour. The Korn Ferry Tour, the Q School doesn't. Q School just gets you to the Korn Ferry. I think how many guys from Q School get tour cards? There's a couple.
Yeah,
because for a while it was none, and now I think it's 5.
I think you're right.
So I would give them the opportunity to go to Q School. I would give them the opportunity to go to the Korn Ferry Tour or the DP World Tour. Now, the sponsor exemption thing, I don't know if, first off, I would not let them in any signature events. It would cause too much upheaval to the guys that stayed. And you've got to be somewhat loyal to them. And I think that the non-signature events would benefit greatly from having some of these guys at them. So that's where I would be probably okay with a limit. You know, they could tell the spot, because this is the part that I would have to explain to the rank and file. In the non-signature events, we need to get ratings and we need to sell tickets.
Mm-hmm.
The Korn Ferry guys, and like I have a friend, he's been on the show, George McNeil. He's on the senior tour now. he was an alternate for the Valero Texas Open. He didn't get in, but when I was looking at the players, I'm like, he's an alternate. Well, he's 50, and who cares if George McNeil plays in the Valero? That doesn't sell a damn ticket. But Hatton would sell some tickets for those guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a Bubba Watson would sell some tickets for those guys. So I may limit former LIV player sponsor exemptions next year to, 5 per non-signature event and a limit of so many per player, so they couldn't just get one guy for all of them. And I think that would be a fair move for the non-signature events. Now, the hard part is what you said going to break. See, this is where my bias that I don't have towards the LIV guys that so many have. There's part of me that says that I don't know if it's career earnings, career majors, whatever criteria I want to put out there. Phil, if you want to play on the Champions Tour, you're eligible immediately. Not for PGA Tour events, not for signature events, not even for non-signature events. Champions Tour, bring it up. Because that's going to move the needle. It's going to sell tickets. Hell, that's going to get people to watch on television.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody watches Champions Tour golf anymore. There was a time when that tour was really popular. Arnold Palmer made that tour, and Trevino, and guys that had unbelievable personality. Well, Phil's got a pretty damn good personality on the golf course. So
he'll be 56 in June. Phil Mickelson, 56 in June. And why, yes, he won the PGA 5 years ago. I believe it's been that long. He was a month shy of 51 when he won. And he finished second in the Masters at the age of, he was 52 technically. He was 2 months shy of 53 when he finished second at the Masters. But he'll be 56 in June. I'll tell you what, Bolton Networks, honestly, that Bolton Networks are just waiting for the okay from the PGA Tour. They really are. They're like, can we hire him? Can we hire him? No. Do you think we'll be able to hire him? Okay.
While CBS is calling the PGA on one phone and Fred Ridley on the other one going, he's a past champion. So is it okay if we get rid of Immelman? Because, by the way, just a quick sidebar, but it is golf. Did you see the Kisner?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
He
yeah.
went on a podcast and I mean eviscerated CBS. It was as hardcore of a takedown as I've ever seen. Golf guys don't do that to other golf guys. It doesn't happen. And he ripped them to shreds.
This broke every code and unwritten rule that exists in the television golf world. Networks have never commented publicly about other networks, ever. They do not criticize. They may come out and say, we think we're the best. All right. And even that was not taken well by the other networks covering golf. That's it. The other networks didn't knock Fox. When Fox had the debacle of the 2015 U.S. Open, when you couldn't see the ball because the course was brown and the skies were cloudy and you couldn't see the ball. It was like watching the 1973 Open Championship. You just had to take the announcer's word for it.
I was so blanking confused the entire time by trying to keep up with behind-the-scenes CBS feed. They're literally showing blank that I knew happened 10 minutes ago all day long. Could you imagine watching the blanking Super Bowl and being like, yeah, Tom Brady threw that touchdown 7 minutes ago, and we're going to act like it's a lot live here so our announcers can sound really smart. I mean, that's not even getting into what happened on 18.
Right.
This is about This is the code David's referring to. That, it's my little joke when I watch golf, whether it's with my wife or someone who doesn't watch a lot of golf, and all of a sudden they show some guy that's 8 strokes off the lead on a shot. And, well, this is going to go in.
Well, of course.
What do you mean? Because it's not live. We know they wouldn't show this guy unless it was something miraculous. But they were doing it with everybody. I mean, and he did bring up the fact that we didn't see Lee there on make his 10.
Yeah, that was a big mistake by CBS. I mean, if you don't want to show any part of him making 6 on 12, but I thought that was an opportunity while Scotty Scheffler is waiting. Why is he waiting? He's waiting because Haotong Li is having an out-of-body experience on 12 and 13. To me, I thought it was an opportunity to edit a little lowlights package and say, well, the reason Scotty Scheffler's been waiting is, and then you just show Lee. You could even just show the one shot on 13. The fact he putted it from one side of the green, off the green, and into the Rays Creek. Boom. There you go. Even if you just showed that on his way to making a 10, and this is why Scotty Scheffler's been waiting so long. Because I will say there was a long stretch and we didn't see a shot by Scheffler. And I don't know if I text you or I text Danielson, but I text somebody and I said, where the hell is Scheffler?
Well, it must have been somebody else, but I was with you. But the fact of the matter is, look, I know that Haotong Li's not a popular golfer, but he was 7 under. He was in the tournament.
Well,
and all of a sudden he goes from being a guy who's going to top 5 this, at least top 12 and get an invitation back to the Masters. He had a great Open Championship a year ago, but this is the first time he's done well at the Masters. He took himself not only out of contention, but he ain't playing next year. He's not qualified. I mean, it's kind of a big deal. And to your point, David, there are times that those of us who play golf like to see these guys implode. It makes them feel more human to us.
Well, that was the part that I would have just been like, wait, a guy made a 10 on 13? Well, we got to show something. He made a 10. That's fun. That's interesting. That's entertaining. So anyway, it was weird that apparently the world feed had angles showing, first off, Cameron Young and Rory McIlroy's approach shots on 18, and yet somehow CBS didn't have those angles. That's difficult to understand. Also, I mean, CBS took a bad angle on the tap in. The world feed's camera was a little further to the left, so there was no Rory's legs blocking the ball. I mean, it was a 4-inch putt to win the Masters. I do think people are making a little bit of that. I do feel that's piling on a little bit. But I mean, also, first off, no one shows more taped golf than NBC. I bet a large amount of money on that. So the fact that Kevin Kisner was going after CBS, okay, about taped golf, to me was laugh out loud funny. Secondly, does anybody think Kevin Kisner's good? Raise your hand if you do. Has Kevin Kisner said something in the booth in which you went, oh, damn?
David, I haven't heard a comment out of the booth in a year on any network that's been any good. So I don't like to go no volume. I don't do it. I always have the volume on, but it's become background noise in golf for me.
I mean, if Kevin Kisner had, taken over as the best golf analyst, but I mean, Johnny Miller, Nick Faldo, they didn't criticize other announcers. They got criticized for some of the things they said. They would defend it. Kevin Kisner is going after Trevor Immelman? Dude, know your place. You ain't any good either. You got the job by default, and you know it. That's my only thing. Wrong guy on the podcast with the rant. If Johnny
better
Miller,
than Brandel Chambly, David. That's all.
Okay. But if Johnny Miller did that rant, okay. It's Johnny Miller. Kevin Kisner?
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I forget who asked about why the interview in Butler Cabin during the round. That's been done before. The Masters isn't big on Amanda doing the interview when they walk off the green. I mean, they will do it if it's absolutely necessary. But here's another thing that's in play. Nance is in Butler Cabin, and Nance may have wanted to do the interview. And Scheffler is a two-time Masters champion. So that
And
might
they
have
did
been
Cam Young in Butler Cabin on Saturday, for that matter.
right. But there's also something at work here. The golf industry has never had an opening to criticize CBS before. And now that they got one, some people are cannonballing through the hole. Yep, Mark just said that, Left Hooks.
No, I don't think it's getting worse. I think we're getting older and we get set in what we used to like, and it's not what we're used to. Like, I think Ian Eagle's terrific. I think there's some play-by-play guys out there that are excellent. It's a different style now. I'm not as huge of a fan of a style. But see, CBS went away from people on holes. They want Nance doing the whole thing. I mean, Nance is the play-by-play guy. They've changed the way they do golf.
Yeah, I'll bet you they switch back next year. There was a lot of Andrew Catalan also on Sunday. There were long stretches of virtually no Nance. I'll bet you that changes. That's
But I
just
mean,
my
I think football play-by-play is good right now. I think there are a lot of really good football guys out there. I don't watch enough hoop to have an opinion, but John Fant is terrific.
I think the other thing is we see so much more sports now than we used to. In the past, you only had a few top announcers. You saw them over and over again. You know, you got one basketball game a week, one baseball game a week.
Where's
So,
Pat O'Brien? You're right, DC. He is. Noah, right?
uh-huh.
He is.
Sounds just like him too.
Well, I think he's like 80, Puck, so I don't think you have to worry about it.
Yeah, I think he's mid-80s even. He did radio for the Raiders for like a half dozen years, though.
Mhm.
But he stopped that a couple of years ago. Actually, Sonny, I think Nance said that.
I got a couple of things here, unless you do, David.
Yeah, go for it. I got one thing. So
Mine are both pretty short, so we can probably get them all
Yeah.
in.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us.
I'm going to have a talk with my caregiver after the show, David. I've been spoiled. My wife, when she gives me my bagel with peanut butter, she puts the hot bagel, it makes it a sandwich, if you will. And that peanut butter melts all over everything. The caregiver this week, Mom, is giving me an open face bagel. And by the time the bagel gets upstairs, the peanut butter has cooled. So I will file a formal complaint later this morning.
Gotcha.
I'll do it away from all sharp objects.
I was going to say, how have formal complaints gone in the past when protesting Mom?
They go okay, believe it or not. They go okay. I think they probably went better in the first, I think the first 10 to 20 days here at the Hope Lodge better than at this point, because I'm getting a little edgy. So I think they could get a little angrier with me.
Right. You're sick of them and they're sick of you.
Probably.
Yeah. So we got that going for each other, which is nice.
I just know for a fact I can't call the other caregiver, my wife, at two different specific times today because the gymnastics semifinals are on today.
I mean, she loves you, but
not as much as college gymnastics, David.
Right. No, I mean, we all need space, Mark.
Exactly.
This is her way of saying I'm going for a walk.
So I began the show by saying I watched a good chunk. I mean, I watched the second half of Orlando and Philadelphia, the play-in game. I watched the final 22 seconds of regulation and overtime of the Heat game.
Right.
I wish I would have watched more. It was, by all accounts, a really competitive, good game. But I forgot to bring this up yesterday because late in the game, with the game in the balance, all of this sudden on Amazon Prime, my screen goes off for half a second. I'm like, what's going on? Not now. Don't give me this straight. They put on the screen technical difficulties.
Again?
This was in the Miami Heat game, not last night.
Yeah.
And we didn't bring it up yesterday, and that's on us. I mean, because here we are being told we've got to get all these services to watch all of our games. And here's Amazon Prime in their first, it's a play-in game. It's not a playoff, but still, It's a game of importance. And the feed went out.
Final minute
Holy
of
Toledo.
overtime. Right. Final
Yeah.
minute of overtime.
Oh, yeah.
Went out for like 20 seconds.
Correct.
Yeah.
The other thing, and I don't know if it's just the internet here, I'm getting spots in which I feel like I'm watching a colored TV in 1982. Like it's a bad, it's like almost worse than standard definition. And I've got to exit and go back in to get the screen right. I'm paying a lot of money for this crap. You're supposed to work.
Yep.
That's all I ask. But I neglected to bring that up yesterday, and we should have, and that's on us because we do talk a lot of broadcast.
Well, I was surprised. I don't know if somebody brought it up on the, Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, but in the chat room on Twitch and YouTube, nobody brought that up yesterday. I took that to mean very few of our listeners were watching, but we didn't get a whole lot of complaints, or if we did, we overlooked them. But yeah, that was a major screw up by Amazon. Major screw up. I saw something which I thought was cute yesterday. Someone posted on X and they said something to the point of, one of these days, somebody's going to figure out how to get all the streaming services together on one channel. Okay. And it's really going to make watching sports a lot easier. And when that day comes, I hope they name it cable. Yeah, I feel your pain. I feel your pain. I just want to throw this out there because I know no one's thinking about this, but we talked about it for months, and at the last minute, the WNBA players and the WNBA made a deal. But we never really talked about the deal. And now the WNBA has got like a 6-week off season. They've had to have a draft. They're doing free agency as we speak, which is interesting because I think training camps are opening because the season's in less than a month. So it's a really condensed calendar. But Mark, do you know how much money Caitlin Clark has made the rest of the players in the WNBA?
It is, I think the only thing you could compare it to in pro sports history, David, is what Tiger did for the rest of the PGA Tour. You and I have talked so much about what LIV's done to the signature events, but they were already making big money on the PGA Tour. The big money came because of Tiger Woods. It changed everything for their TV contracts. And to me, that's the only comp you can make.
Every player this year in the league will make more money than the highest paid player in the league last year. I'm going to say that again. Every player in the league this year will make more money than the highest paid player in the league last year. The Supermax salary is now $1.4 million. It was like $200,000 in the old deal. Mark, the average salary is $583,000.
Yeah, I am curious how this works. I really am, David. I mean, are we going to continue to watch this sport the way that we have? And by we, I mean the general public, because I've never watched and I really don't watch.
Okay, but that's you. And
no, that's what I said. I said the general public. They're watching. That's what exactly what I said.
Right. When Caitlin Clark plays on a network, she gets 2 million viewers. I mean, hockey on ABC gets 1 million. So, you can mock, you can laugh, and I'm not saying you, I mean all of us. Okay, but the average salary is now $583,000. The minimum salary is $270,000. I think the minimum before was $40,000.
Yeah, I'm just curious if it's sustainable because they're going to need the TV revenue because they don't get the gate revenue that a league like the NHL gets. They don't.
Right. Yep.
Nor do I, but I do think the sponsorship, because there are companies that are going to want to advertise with the WNBA and because they want to advertise that audience. So it'll be interesting to see from a sponsor standpoint and from a spectator standpoint what that sport does going forward.
They signed a 7-year deal, so it goes through 2032. The team salary caps now are $7 million. By the end of the deal, they'll be 11. So this is it. This is basically Caitlin Clark's career, probably, right? Here it is. Asia Wilson, Caitlin Clark, and a few others. Here you go. But I mean, I'm just asking this because clearly there was jealousy towards Caitlin Clark and a lot of players who physically were roughing her up. Do you have to treat her differently now? Seriously.
I don't think that happens. I don't think it comes close to happening.
Well, what are you jealous of? What are you jealous of?
Popularity. You think you're better than she is. She's more popular. She's getting all the endorsements. If you're a player and you think you're better than that, they are going to play her rough. I don't see any of that changing.
You're making 7 to 10 times more money than you were because of her. I mean, don't you? At what point do you say thank you?
For a lot of them, the answer to that's never, David. Never, ever for a lot of them. Because, I mean, do you think Angel Reese is going to make up with Caitlin?
Well, she should.
It's not what I asked. Do you think she's going to?
No.
Okay. Should and doing are obviously completely different things. But they got paid. There's no doubt about that.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Sonny, it was Nance in 86 on 16. Ben Wright had 15. Nance and Weiskopf had 16. Vern had 17. Summerall and Venturi had 18. And the line about the bear coming out of hibernation was Nance after the birdie on 16.
And the yes, sir, was by both Ben Wright and Vern Lundquist. Ben Wright
And-
gets no credit for what Vern basically, I mean, I don't want to, Vern had an unbelievable, but I mean, that's his most memorable Masters call until Tiger's chip.
What people forget is that Vern also said yes, sir, when Norman rolled in the birdie putt on 17 to tie Jack. He gave it a yes, sir. But yes, Mark, I mean, how famous that call is when it was Vern's final year doing the SEC and Georgia honored him, the band at halftime.
Right.
They played their 2 songs and then they had the PA announcer, say, hey, in his final year, blah, blah, blah. And the band spelled out yes, sir, with an exclamation point on the field as they honored him. And I believe they got, if my memory is correct, they got Jack to record something. And while they were spelling out yes, sir, on the field, they played a clip of Jack on the scoreboard. Doesn't he look terrible?
Yeah, I would
his,
too.
His coloring, though, it looks awful.
I don't know if that's just the camera and where they
Yeah,
are in the lights.
could have
I'm
been.
not- you know, it's one camera behind a locker room white brick wall. So I might chalk it up to that first. I don't know, because he didn't look that way the other day.
Right.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. Final day of the NHL regular season. The NFL draft a week away. Baseball's 3 full weeks into their schedule. Day off in the NBA. And then 2 final playoff spots determined tomorrow. Charlotte at Orlando for the 8th seed in the East. Portland hosting Golden State. Don't think Portland thought they were going to get a home playoff game out of this, but Portland hosting Golden State to determine the 8th seed out west.
So we talked about this yesterday from a little different perspective. We went at it from a journalistic standpoint.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about it just for a moment for a little different standpoint because, well, I find it funny.
What's that?
Diana Rossini and, well, Michelle Beadle's comments yesterday.
Ooh, I didn't hear this.
Because Michelle Beadle on a podcast basically told every woman that's taking a shot at Diana Rossini, I know where the skeletons are. I know what you've done. And you better shut your mouth because I'm going to start talking.
Ooh.
And Michelle Beadle, I will say, said, look, I made my share of mistakes. Basically, if you read through it, she's saying, yeah, I might have had some fun on the road too. That's how I took it. And I happen to know a couple people that know her. And when she was very young in the business, said she was a riot, worked hard. This is when she was starting. Like she was, I think, an intern. And that's how long ago this is. And she's had a up and down career, and she's done a lot of different things. And she's been, pretty polarizing for a female announcer, analyst, host, whatever you want to call it, mostly host. But she basically said, lucky for me, all the mistakes I made were pre-social media. So there's really no evidence of them. And she didn't use them, but she did say social media. But she did come out and say, yeah, ladies, all of you that are taking your shots at Diana Rossini, I know things about you. Be very careful about what you're saying right now. She didn't address any men. She specifically talked about the women who are making thinly veiled shots at Rossini's journalistic integrity, if you will.
Right.
So I found that to be, go get him, Michelle. Because I'm not, like I said yesterday, the morality part of it, I don't care about. I truly don't. I stand by what I said yesterday, that if you didn't do anything wrong, why did you resign? That's the part of this that I have the most trouble with. You saying I'm backing away from this, so I'm going to resign. You and I, David, have always kind of said, hey, if you're telling the truth, you run to the highest mountaintop and you scream it. So that's if I have any issue with Diana Rossini, it's that resignation letter where she said, well, I'm still telling the truth, but I'm resigning anyhow. That just seems odd to me. But I thought it was terrific that Michelle Beadle said, really, be careful.
Well, Mark, maybe between Diana Rossini and Kevin Kisner, maybe the media is just going to all turn on each other. Maybe it's going to be just one big cat fight. All right. Where instead of everybody keeping secrets, and when they were at the bar after games, that's what they gossiped about. All right. Trust me, Mark, we've all been there. Okay. It's just different levels of gossip. Okay. But you and I have been there. All right. I've probably been there at a higher, network level in terms of being at a table where the gossiping is going on. Okay. But so we're going to go public with this now, huh? Okay.
Well, it was more of a threat. I don't think that she ever will. I just think she's basically telling all the female reporters, and there are a few out there that are, giving Rossini a hard time from a journalistic integrity standpoint. Just be careful. You better make sure there's no skeletons, because if there are and you're throwing stones, be very, very careful. That's just, I thought it would, she does a podcast with another lady, and she let it rip for a good, 30 seconds, minute and a half, whatever it was. And I just went, well, good for you. And I don't know her. I've always liked Michelle Beadle. For whatever reason, she makes me laugh. I thought she was decent as a host, and I just thought she was she seemed to be a pretty honest person. I could be dead wrong because I don't know her. This isn't personal, but I just thought, I'm like, well, good for you. And, her day's come and gone for the most part.
Yeah, she's on the
I think she's 50 years old. I mean, she's so whatever.
Did you hear that reportedly Rossini got a job offer? Now, it's thought that it's one of two places: Barstool, the Le Batard show.
Well, it is interesting. I did not realize, but the Barstool, with the PFT show, they did talk about her, and they took not shots, but they were very tongue in cheek with their comments, if you will. I could see Portnoy doing that.
Oh, I could too.
But Le Batard, Le Batard caught a little bit of flack because he's been critical of other people's journalistic integrity on how they get information. And he's like, she's my friend, so I'm not going to talk about it. And some people were upset with the fact that he'll talk about some, but not others. So, I mean, Le Batard's a giant in this business. I'm not ever going to take Dan Le Batard on. He's very good at what he does. I think the show is interesting. Sometimes I like it. Sometimes I don't. It's not everybody's cup of tea. But I liked when he had her on it. I thought their conversations were hysterical. I mean, they did, like I said it before, they did a whole bit because apparently she has 2 ovens in her kitchen. And she was talking about they used the top oven and they put all the kids' candy in the bottom oven and the kids found it. And she's like, what an idiot I am. Why would you put it down where they could get it? And just they can carry a joke on pretty well on that show. And so I always thought their conversations were entertaining, to say the very least.
That's out there, and we'll see. We'll see how people react to her if she comes back. I don't think she can come back as an NFL insider. So therefore, what is she coming back as? Just a commentator on sports? A commentator on the NFL? So that, to me, I'm curious about. You know, what's the path to the comeback? You know, we love a comeback. We're open as a society to a comeback. But usually there's a path. I'm curious, what path are we open to? I mean, do you just rehire her as an NFL insider and just say, go? You know, don't talk about the Patriots? Go? I mean,
David, I might be missing them because you are right on the sports comeback. I'm trying to think of the female that's had the comeback. We love the male comeback. We can let them come back from drugs and alcohol abuse and a lot of things. I'm sure they're out there. I'm just struggling to find one right now.
Yeah, I'll have to think about this a little
Okay. And I'm not trying to, because you're right about the comeback. We do. So I'm trying to find that one.
You know, Erin Andrews got caught up in a big story that was not of her doing, in which she was the victim. And it did not hurt her career any.
Right.
I mean, could have helped it in a sense, but I mean, she went through hell, but she obviously survived it. She kept her job. Okay. I mean, she didn't do anything to deserve to lose her job, but that
yeah, she didn't do anything wrong. She was a victim. We support a victim.
I'm, trying to think recently, don't know. I'll have to spend a couple commercial breaks. I have a feeling, also there was different levels of comeback, where certain people were maybe number one at their position, they dropped down and they worked their way back into the business at the network level, but they weren't necessarily back where they were, because I mean, that actually happened to Beetle through no controversy or anything, but I mean, she lost her gig. She basically gave up her gig on air. She said, I'm bored by the NFL. I really don't want to talk about the NFL every single morning year round. And ESPN laughed, and they were paying her millions to do the morning show. And ESPN laughed and said, well, I don't know what to tell you, but we're going to talk about the NFL every damn day. And this is when they had a bad relationship with the NFL too. So.
But that was just one of the things I observed. Good night in the NBA last night again. 2 good games. Yeah. Steph Curry has a, ageless performance last night, killing it from outside the arc as he often does. I think 7 of 12 from outside the arc. Al Horford had a bunch of big threes. The old guys got it done last night. And the Orlando Magic looked lousy down the stretch. Had the game right there for the taking and just couldn't make a shot when it mattered. Bain was the only guy that delivered for him. No one else did.
Bain with 34 in the loss, and he was the only one who hit more than 1 3 for the Magic, who shot 26% from beyond the arc. I mean, same old. In the clutch, those young guys can't get it done. Sorry. Paulo, Wagner, Suggs. I mean, you really have to wonder Do you have to break that up? Can you break that up and get fair value in return? Or do you just change the coach and hope that's the difference?
Boy, did they officiate the final quarter of an NBA play-in playoff game differently than the regular season, though. And I think if you don't watch and you start watching, I think most of you would enjoy it. You all loved the tournament. You all loved the way that the tournament was officiated in some of these close games late, in physical games. I mean, some of the blocks that Philly had last night, the block that they had at the end of the Heat game to knock them out, that Bridges had against the Heat, terrific. I mean, there have been some great defensive plays.
They're going to keep officiating like this against SGA? Please?
I hope so.
Please?
But I hope so. Because I do think he's good enough to score without it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But, I mean, he's intentionally trying to draw fouls, and they're rewarding him for what he's doing. And what he's doing is Bush, to be honest. He is constantly flailing his arms and his legs out to initiate contact. Nobody shoots the ball the way that SGA is shooting the ball when he drives to the lane. He's like an octopus. He's trying to initiate so much contact.
And, you know, we could end up with a San Antonio OKC conference final. Would be fascinating how that's officiated, because it's not the Lakers, if you know what I mean. It's two small markets, but both have stars. So how will the league do that? And to your point yesterday, David, when you look at the East teams, and I think the obvious favorite to win the whole thing is Oklahoma City. David, I would say the next best team, San Antonio.
I'd agree.
But
the NBA
physicality of the East.
The NBA playoffs, Mark, could get incredibly sexy. If there are no first-round upsets, it'll be the Lakers against OKC. By then, Luka should be healthy.
We'll see. I think Houston gets them. That's the problem. I think Houston.
Okay.
I think Houston gets the Lakers because Luka's not going to be ready for that series.
And then Jokic against Wemby, Denver and San Antonio. And then obviously on the other side, Detroit, Cleveland, Boston, New York. I mean, it could get really sexy for the NBA in the second round if their top seeds can come through.
Where are they going to bury that Pistons-Cavs series on so we can get every part of, we may get multiple broadcasts of Celtics-Knicks before we get Cleveland-Detroit.
Can they still put playoff games on NBA TV?
Someone call True TV. Are they available? Miller and Moulton, the Pro Hour. At least that's what I call it. It's next.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Millerand Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
All right, Canada Relief, you're a Leafs guy. Let me just ask you, if Matthews would agree to it, and I offered you Larkin, Edvinson, one of the two goalies, and a future first-round pick, because they don't have this year's because St. Louis has it, would you take it for Matthews? And if Edvinson, if you're not familiar with him and there's someone else you want, name them. The only guys I'm not trading are Sider and Raymond. That's it. And Beadle's career is over for whoever was talking. She's on the downside. She's not making a comeback. I think Rossini still can, but Michelle Beadles, she's done. She burned. Yes, I did say Larkin, Canada Relief. I would start with Larkin. Yes, I would trade Larkin for Matthews, and then I think you'd have to add a player, a minor leaguer, and a draft pick. I think that would be fair. And I don't know who it is, but I'm pretty sure you guys have a goalie in your system. But Detroit's got two goalies, the kid from Michigan State that just signed and the kid they brought up. I would say one of those goaltenders, because they're not going to be able to keep them both. And a draft pick. Yeah, okay. If Matthews would do it, because I think they have to. By the way, I'm full chia pet right now. Like, it's just starting to grow back. I feel like a chia pet, for the record. Okay, I liked those new Washington unis. I especially like and I'm not a big alternate jersey guy. I like that alternate jersey with the spear. I don't like the colors per se, but I thought the Buffalo alternate jerseys were sharp. I did. They don't look like the Buffalo Bills, so I have a problem with that. But I thought the jersey itself was sharp. Is that I don't know if that makes any sense, or I'm being hypocritical of myself there. Well, Spitz, I don't think FanDuel TV is the industry standard. Doesn't mean she can't work. I'm saying she's on the back end of her career, and she's not going to be getting an NBC, CBS, ESPN job. That's I guess all that I mean. I'm not saying that she's never going to work again. She's currently working. I mean, I get it. By the way, David, you see that Fubu there apparently bought like the NBA rights to 13 teams that were on FanDuel networks?
I just sent you an email.
Okay.
It's not the right form. I just found it. I'm sending it to you.
It's perfect.
So the second one is it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour or the pro hour since we're in Jacksonville and Tampa St. Pete. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Final night of the NHL regular season. Not much meaning to it. Only meaning is out west. We have to determine who's going to finish second in the Pacific, who's going to finish third, and then of the three teams separated by a point, which one is going to be a wild card. And whoever ends up as a wild card, well, it's been nice knowing you because you're going to play the Colorado Avalanche in the first round, although wouldn't it be, we just talked about how sexy the NBA playoffs could be. I know the NHL wouldn't want this because I think they want both teams to go as far as possible, maybe meet in a conference final instead of the first round. But, Mark, what if Colorado and Edmonton play in the first round?
I think the NHL would do cartwheels, David. I mean, you'd get McDavid and McKinnon in the first round. Could Edmonton get out on that? If they finish second, could they end up getting out of that division and possibly face Colorado in a conference final? Yes. Yes, they could. And by that point, they may have Draisaitl back, and who knows? But I'm giving you a known that I get it in the first round or an unknown, the chance it could happen in the conference finals. So I think you take it when you can get it, if you know what I mean.
And let's be honest, for as glorious as Connor McDavid is, I mean, he's the best player in the league. Whether he wins the MVP trophy this year or not, he's the best player in the league. But I think the NHL would love a non-Canadian team to come out of the West.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think they'd like it to be Colorado. I mean, I do. I think Dallas would work. I put it this way. I think any of those top three work because Minnesota is such a great hockey market. But I think I think Minneapolis, St. Paul's watching the Stanley Cup Finals no matter who's in it. But, you brought up the MVP. David, you've been pitching Kucherov for the MVP since at least mid-February, if not before then.
Yeah, before then, because before the Olympic break, absolutely.
This is, in my opinion, since you and I, and we don't pay a lot of attention to MVPs, period. We just don't. We've noticed that fans don't care as much. Like the NBA media loves the MVP race. It's seemingly all they can talk about.
Yep.
And it's another interesting race this year in the NBA. Is SGA going to get it? Is Joker going to get it? By the way, first player ever to lead the league in rebounds and assists, I believe. So is he going to get it? He should. I don't know if he will because, our NBA expert thinks SGA is going to get it. So you've got McDavid, you've got McKinnon, and you've got Kucherov. Mm-hmm. All of their numbers are eerily similar this year. McKinnon played on the best team. Probably has the best running mate, if you will, in Makar because Draisaitl was hurt. I think, Kucherov certainly has a goal scorer in Getzel. I mean, Tampa's loaded with good players. They are. McDavid is the best player in the game.
Yes, he is.
For
He
all
is.
of you that want to say McKinnon, I'm sorry. I believe you're wrong. I do. McKinnon was the MVP of the league at least until February 1. I mean, it was his to lose, basically. McDavid led the league in points.
Correct.
Has one more game left. He's going to play. It's important.
Yep.
He has 48 goals. If he scores 2 goals tonight and gets to 50, so it's a 50-goal year and the point leader, does that mean he's the MVP and they win, which gets them second? I don't know.
So McKinnon is going to lead the league in goals,
Third in points.
and he's the best player on the best team in the league. McDavid is regarded as the best player in the league, and he's going to lead the league in points. Unfortunately, Mark, Kucherov, I think he's going to lead the league in assists.
He and McDavid are tied.
Oh.
Kucherov's done. So if McDavid gets an assist tonight, he would end up winning that.
But the problem for Kucherov is if you go head to head, if you're going by the numbers, he's probably not going to win a category. His best chance is what Mark just said. Tied for the league lead in assists. What did he end up with? 44 goals? Like 7th in the league, something like that?
I only have the top 5 in front of me, and he doesn't make that list. Give me a second
Well,
to figure out where he
but-
ended up on goals.
but from a numbers standpoint, Kucherov is the candidate in which you would go, well, how could I go with Kucherov over McKinnon? How could I go with Kucherov over McDavid? So, and both McKinnon and McDavid finished very strong. Very strong. I think Kucherov's going to finish third again. I do. I think it's going to come down to McDavid or McKinnon. I think McKinnon's going to win a close vote.
McKinnon ended up, for what it's worth, for those that care, blew away the league in plus minus. I mean, they were the best team, but he was plus 57.
Yeah.
His teammates were second, third, and fifth. Kucherov, by the way, T3 there. And you're right. He has 44 goals. That's T7 in the league.
Yeah. So now I think, though, now you could argue that McDavid has the least amount of support. Therefore, once again, the whole phrase most valuable, where McKinnon, some people are going to hold it against him that he's playing on the best team because it's like, yeah, they can win without him. Well, not as easily, though, let me tell you. So
I think McKinnon will win it.
I do too, in a close vote over McDavid. And I think Kucherov's going to finish a distant third. Mark, I said it 3 weeks ago. I thought for Kucherov and Cooper to win the Hart and the Jack Adams MVP and Coach of the Year, that they had to finish first.
Yeah, Lindy Ruff's going to win the Coach of the Year award. I think that's a foregone conclusion. They've had the longest playoff drought in the league. They just won the division. That's over.
And second in points in the East, and I think fourth in points overall.
So, that's over. There are 2 factors in the MVP that, to me, are part of this, whether people want to admit it or not. I've talked about it. You've agreed with me. Kucherov's Russian. A lot of these voters are Canadian.
Yep.
Will that be a factor when it comes to the MVP? I think it will. Been saying it for 2.5 months. But the thing that had nothing to do with the NHL season, I also think is a slight factor with those same Canadian voters. McKinnon missed a wide open net in the gold medal game against the United States. and then acted like a petulant child in losing the gold medal. When the memes of his face when he got the stuffed animal, him saying they were the best team. If other players would have said they were the best team, we would have taken it differently. Because if you're Canadian and you point the finger at one guy because you lost, who's that guy, David? Nathan McKinnon. It is. I'm sorry. He was on the ice when the game winner was scored and he missed a wide open net. Should that have anything to do with the NHL MVP vote? No. However, there, as I just said, are a lot of Canadian voters on that award. Does that creep into their mind? And the other thing, if somehow, some way McDavid gets 2 tonight and gets to 50, they're playing Vancouver. It's a meaningful game for Edmonton. It means home ice in the first round if they win.
Well, and I thought it at the time, even though it had nothing to do with it. Who was the head coach of Team Canada?
Yeah, John Cooper.
Yep. And that's another reason why I thought they had to finish first. Because let me tell you, they're not happy north of the border about that hockey game 2 months ago. They're not going to be happy about that game for 20 years. Unless Canada goes on a run here and just wins them all.
Yeah, unless it's gold medals, David, the Four Nations and the rest of the World Cup and all this stuff they're doing don't mean squat. It just doesn't.
No, they're very bitter up there. The Leafs suck. They're in disarray. And the United States holds the gold medal in every single meaningful hockey competition worldwide. Male, female, juniors, not juniors. All USA, USA.
And Tampa fan, I get it. Trust me. You don't give a damn about the MVP or the coach of the year if come June you're hoisting Lord Stanley. We understand. We'd all make that sacrifice. It's not even to be honest, it's not even a sacrifice. But if there's ever been a year, in our opinion, that Kucherov flat out deserves the MVP, he carried that team for long stretches of the season.
Yes, he did.
And there's a lot of talent on that team. But obviously, we know Hedman's had a tough year. Now, Radish has come on board and been unbelievable. He set the record for most goals by a defenseman for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
And I think he has the second most for defensemen in the league.
You know, Getzel's had a really good year, but they've dealt with a lot of injuries. And Kucherov has been the steadying force all year long. Now, they've not played great for the last couple of weeks. They've got the pedigree. And what is it they have, David, that everybody would like?
Mark, they have a Vasilevsky.
And when you have one of those, well, you always have a chance. Because you know what? I don't think Montreal, I don't think Buffalo, and I don't think Carolina have one. Millerand.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
David, it looks like we have more streaming, and I don't know if it will be free streaming, but it looks like it's free streaming. It looks like what I'm seeing here is that YouTube is getting the 5-game package that was out there.
For the NFL?
Yes. The Black Friday Europe thing, I believe. NFL and YouTube have entered into a long-form contract review for a 5-game package, according to Front Office Sports. Deal has not been finalized, but a review typically indicates it's likely to happen. It doesn't say what games, though, because obviously the NFL Network games, ESPN got those rights. So now you don't have to pay for it, Red Dog Media. This is YouTube, not YouTube TV. This is just YouTube. You don't have to pay for that.
I thought these games were those.
I know there's been a 5-game package out there because
Right.
Fox was in talks of getting it. So I don't know exactly what 5 games it is, David. It doesn't say.
Okay. I'm just throwing, I think it's the 5 games. Remember ESPN used to have a doubleheader?
Right.
And they would have, I think, 5 extra games a year because of it. I think it's those 5 games.
But I'm pretty sure the Black Friday game, maybe it's because when I initially read the 5 games, I thought the Black Friday game was listed when Fox was in the running. But
Interesting.
Right. But I all I've got is this Front Office Sports story, David, or tweet, I should say.
No, Mark, you're right. Okay. They just put together a special 5-game package. The Week 1 Australia game, the Thanksgiving Eve game, a second Black Friday game, and a Christmas Eve game.
Well, I mean, the Australia game, that's good news for you. You don't have to fly 24 hours unless you needed the miles.
No, I'll bet large amounts of money we're going to Mexico City. It's funny, though, this package will not help them with the Department of Justice.
I'm curious as to why it's free. You don't have to own anything. This is YouTube. This is not YouTube TV. There's no subscription.
But I think part of the DOJ investigation is just how hard it is to get all the games.
Okay, but I got you. I understand that. But all those other entities are a pay-per-view service.
No,
That's basically saying, because if you have the internet, you can get these games.
I gotcha. But can you get it on your TV?
If you have a smart television, you can. And I mean, I guess people still don't, but most of us have smart TVs now.
Well, I'm just intrigued by the whole suit investigation. I'm very intrigued. I'm like, where did this come from? It's all about the money, Red Dog. That's all I care about. I mean, look what they're doing to the officials. They're risking their quality of their games over something, an amount of money that.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. The good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Some final thoughts coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. What was that you were reading during the break?
Front Office Sports is reporting that YouTube and the NFL are in contract review stages of the 5-game package that has been available. Now, I don't know who was all involved in bidding on it. I know that regular old Fox TV was in on it.
Yes.
I'm guessing Netflix and some other streamers were there. And I don't know who all was trying to bid, but I know, I don't know about the 11th hour, but late in this, it started being reported that Fox was involved, and people were surprised because they thought this was going to be basically all of the streaming services out there bidding on this. But this is not YouTube TV. This is YouTube. So is it free TV? No. You can't hook up your rabbit ears and watch it over the air. No. But if you have the internet, you can watch the game. It's not a paid streaming service. It's not the Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. It's simply on YouTube.
So we're talking the Australia game, which would be the second game of this year, Rams-Niners, on that Thursday when the season has traditionally kicked off, because the Seahawks opener got pushed up a day to Wednesday. Apparently, they're going to have a Thanksgiving Eve game. So another game on a Wednesday. Think about that, about 3/4 of the way through the season, and they schedule a game on a Wednesday. Boy, are those two teams going to be thrilled. Then we have one Black Friday game. The NFL saying, hell with that. Let's have two. Can I just stop there for a second? Can we just do the math? So we're going to have a game on Thanksgiving Eve. We're going to have 3 on Thanksgiving. We're going to have 2 now on Black Friday. And obviously, we're going to have a Monday Night Football game. That's 7 games right there that are not airing on Sunday. It's only going to be 9 games that air on that Sunday.
And one Sunday night. So that's 8 games in the traditional window.
Right.
Yes.
Wow.
You've got that right. How you like that, CBS?
And Fox.
Fox.
Right.
Who's got the 425? What, I mean, and think about it. They try to get good games in these windows. So be interesting just to see who's in that 425 window, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think Fox and CBS. I think this year Fox is the 425 Thanksgiving game. I think they're going to be like, listen, just give us another ratings whopper and we'll air whatever you give us on Sunday. We just want one of those games like CBS had last year with like a 50-something rating. Give us one of those suckers. We'll be fine. So Australia, second game of the season. Thanksgiving Eve, just what we need. Don't we all need that?
That's the biggest bar night of the year. I know that, I know Gen Z doesn't go to the bar and we're too old to go to the bar, but I mean, that was go night for a lot of people.
I know, and or night that you're getting back together with family, traveling into town and what have you.
Right.
So
I
Australia,
mean, it's still a huge travel day. I mean, just from that, I mean, it's one of the biggest travel days of the year, right? The Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
I think it's actually bigger than any of the other days that Thanksgiving weekend. So Australia, Thanksgiving Eve, Black Friday, and Christmas Eve, apparently. Because 2 games on Christmas just isn't enough. Now we have to do Christmas Eve. So that's 4 of the 5 games, apparently. Is the NFL screwing up here? Is it possible the NFL's making a mistake? Because Miller and Moulton a couple of times during our show run have said, and the NFL's really making a mistake here. And we've been 400% wrong. So this is like, Pat Kerwin not betting against Mahomes. But is the NFL making a mistake, Mark? Spreading themselves out like this, going to so much non-traditional television?
David, I'm going to kind of rephrase what you said. So
right.
Is the NFL making a mistake when the most popular league in our country and the most watched television product in our country is putting multiple games on consecutive nights in prime time? My simple answer to that would be no. No, they're not. We right now devour every bit of these television broadcasts. Now, what I wonder, could it hurt the network you work for? I mean, the fact that Thanksgiving weekend, we're going to have primetime football Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, right?
Yeah.
I mean, by Monday, is someone going to be footballed out? Will it affect the ESPN rating on Monday night that week? Maybe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, before you started working with ESPN, you were the one on this show that's like, by Monday, I'm done. There was when you were doing the Thursday night games on Fox, there were a lot of Monday night games. Like, I'm not watching.
Right.
Now you work them, so you have to watch them.
Right.
At least for 3 quarters, sometimes not the 4th, knowing by the text that I get from you.
Right. I try to only text during the commercial breaks, but sometimes the game has me texting while live action's going on. I just get a glance from Aikman.
So,
for what it's worth, Christmas is on a Friday this year. So think about also this package that YouTube's getting. Australia's a Thursday. Obviously, Thanksgiving Eve's a Wednesday. Black Friday's a Friday.
thank you for that.
And Christmas Eve is a Thursday. So they're getting, 2 Thursdays, a Wednesday, and a Friday are 4 of their 5 games?
So, and I know we don't know times. They must be getting it. Are they getting an afternoon Christmas Eve game? Because Amazon Prime has the Thursday night game, right?
Well, but Christmas is on a Friday this year.
No, but so wouldn't there be a Christmas Eve game on Thursday for Amazon Prime? They have the Thursday night package.
But by the sounds of it, no. I mean, unless, like you said, is it possible it's going to be a late afternoon YouTube game and then Amazon Thursday night, Christmas Eve with their normal game?
Do we hate our families that much?
Is that what the NFL's betting on?
I mean, I get, I mean,
isn't that what, okay, the person who's not most interested in the game is going to yell at the other. Do you hate us so much that you can't even talk to us on Christmas Eve?
It's a comedian that I think Derek Stoop, if I said his name wrong, I apologize. Does the whole bit on smoking that, Aunt whatever going out and smoking a cigarette on Christmas Eve has saved a lot of family conflicts. We don't smoke anymore. So now we just give you the NFL. It's so you don't have a problem at Thanksgiving. That's what this is. You hate your families that much.
Wow. Can YouTube work that into their marketing? It's our 5-game NFL package to keep families together, but you don't have to talk to one another.
Something to be said for that. Keeping the divorce rate down. YouTube and the NFL.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I don't know, Sonny. I think that's a fascinating question. I think they wouldn't mind a Super Bowl in our nation's capital. But does it get sacrificed so you don't have to give one to Cleveland and or Denver, if you know what I mean? That's the part of this I'm confused with, Sonny. I really am. And living, I get what you're saying, but like this YouTube thing, I think you guys are all getting bent out of shape. Both Cleveland and Denver are going to be domes, Sonny, or going to be at least retractable in Denver. This YouTube thing's not a pay-per-view streaming. Like, I don't think this should get people up in arms. I think, 80% of the country has internet at home. If you're watching this on Twitch or YouTube, the odds are you have internet at home. You'll be able to watch. The DOJ question, David, that's a whole nother issue because you have to have internet. We don't, particularly if depending on who's fighting this for whether, where don't we have it? Super rural areas, some inner cities. So that's another argument altogether. But I do laugh when you guys argue with me. Well, the antenna's free, internet's not, as you're watching this show on the internet.
Possibly on the same channel that may have the NFL.
Yes. I mean, I do find that fun. I don't know. If I'm the NFL, I'm not giving any of these cities a Super Bowl. David thinks that they are. Like, I've never given Cleveland a Super Bowl, ever. Not in a million years. Not giving Denver one either. Denver's a good city, but right, Red Dog. That is the Florida way. Look out for the poor people. It's been happening for centuries here in Florida. Sorry, I made myself laugh at that one, David. Come on, how funny was that video I sent you last night?
Funny.
I mean, that's
funny.
Notice I just sent that to you.
Right.
I did like my comment to John about a fat white woman was actually singing Michael Jackson songs.
He's very sensitive about that, MJ.
Well, when he comes at hockey, I'm like, where can I go? If I just yell at him about hockey, he's won. Where do I go to up the ante? And that was the one place I knew I could go.
Yep.
Because it took a while for a response, which meant it worked.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour, our final segment of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. Thanks so much for being with us. Pat Kerwin on at least somewhat football Friday. Hoping to talk a little Braves tomorrow. First place, National League East. Remarkable. Their pitching, it's like best, second best in all of baseball with all those starters on the IL. They haven't lost a series, Mark, yet this year. I think they've played 6 series or 12-7, maybe 7 series, have yet to lose a series this year.
We're going to talk Braves tomorrow?
At some point.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the plan.
If it was 40 years ago and there were no professional baseball teams in Florida and the Braves were still, America's team.
Right.
But all right.
But, our Huntsville audience loves the Braves. That's their team.
You love Chris Sale. It's your team. I know the Mets are your team, but
I do love Chris Sale. Yes, I do. Not crazy about the beard, but, that's a me thing.
It is a you thing.
Yep.
My daughter's on Team Moulton with that, by the way. She just rips her brother. Every time she sees her brother who has a full beard, she just gives it to him. But why don't you shave? That thing's awful. She's on Team Moulton.
The only thing that I'll say is that your son is still single, correct?
Obviously, he's got a beard.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. Like, I was in TV, local TV, and I couldn't get a gig. I mean, I'm in Fargo 5 years, not by choice, even though I loved it and almost went back. All right. But I was trying to get out just to make more money. I wasn't making a lot of money. And I couldn't get a job. And a consultant said to me, "You got a mustache. No one's going to hire you." I went, "What?" He said, "Shave the mustache." All of a sudden, all people wanted to talk to me, interview me, fly me in, the whole deal. So since maybe that's the angle that your daughter needs to take with your son, in which she just looks at him and goes, "You know, if you want a girlfriend, you better shave."
That's fascinating. Now, I mean, you're right, because there are a lot of women though that like beards.
I know.
I'm of the belief, and I could be dead wrong here, men who have beards think more highly of their beards than any women do. Like, I know there are women out there that love beards. I get it. But it's like, I'll equate it to the 80s, David. Go back to a generation that you and I understand. The guy that popped the collar, he thought more highly of himself than the majority, because there were certain women that wanted that preppy guy.
Right.
But there were a lot of women that looked at the guy with the pop collar and went, "What a dork."
Right. Pop collar.
What an arrogant SOB.
And the Izod label, and said, "Seriously? Not if you were the last one on earth."
That's coming from someone who wore pastels and occasionally popped his collar.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Got to be honest right now, I'm pissed I don't have a golf shirt on, because I would do this segment with the collar popped.
Do you want me to turn my collar up while you do it?
No,
Oh,
please
okay.
don't.
Why? It's a
the
golf
right
shirt.
color shirt, though.
Yeah, I know it is. It's light blue. I mean,
Yeah.
it could qualify as a pastel.
Absolutely. We start in 1929 today. The Indians opened the Cleveland Indians, because that's what they were called then. They opened their season with numbers on the back of each jersey, the first major league team to do so. The numbers obviously made it easier for scorekeepers, broadcasters, and fans to identify players. Cleveland would win that game, beating the Tigers in 11. 1939, the Bruins win the Stanley Cup, taking the Leafs down in 5. It was the first best of 7 Stanley Cup final. Bob Feller throws a no-hitter on opening day today in 1940. The Indians beat the White Sox 1-0 at Comiskey. Today in 1943, we thank Dr. Albert Hoffman, because he discovered the psychedelic effects of LSD. At least some of us thank him. I'd be one of those people. Walter Cronkite began anchoring CBS Today in 1962. And today in 2007, so David doesn't have to read this story, was the Virginia Tech Massacre, the deadliest mass shooting in modern American history. 32 people dead. Charlie Chaplin would have celebrated a birthday today. Bobby Vinton's 91. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 79. Bill Belichick, 74. Bruce Bochy, 71. John Cryer and Martin Lawrence are both 61. Steve Ettman, 56. Jonathan Vilma, 44. Nolan Arenado, 35. And Chance the Rapper, he's 33. What did I miss, David?
I think Vilma, by the way, should have a bigger role with a network. I love how he does a game. I think he's really good. Just throwing that out there. Let's see. I had 2 things. Martin Luther King wrote letter from a Birmingham jail today in 1963. And Kendrick Lamar won a Pulitzer today in 2018. It was the first time they had ever given the Pulitzer for music to a genre that was not classical or jazz. I think his album was Damn. All right. Won a Pulitzer today. I got to admit, I don't know what awards, because we don't like awards the way we used to in this country.
No,
Not just award shows, but even awards. For whatever reason, we've soured on them. I got to admit, though, man, a Pulitzer? That just feels significant to me. Like when they gave one to Dylan for poetry, and he didn't accept it.
wait a minute. Was that a Pulitzer? Or did they give him a Nobel Peace Prize for that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, could have.
But you're right. He didn't accept it, whatever it was.
Right. But I don't know. This just seems big to me. It's kind of like when somebody's an EGOT.
Okay.
They've won them all. I don't know. Pulitzer just seems significant to me. I mean, it's put it this way. It feels bigger than a Tony. It feels bigger than an Emmy. And I would kill for an Emmy.
You've won an Emmy.
Well, I was part of a crew that won 2 Emmys.
What's that hanging behiand your head? What's that on the shelf behind your head?
It's not. It doesn't say me on it. You know what I mean.
It says, do you have the fake name like the
No. In fact, now I'm going to have to check it and see if my name's on it. I thought it was for Monday Night Football, the night Damar Hamlin nearly died. But you know what I mean. I don't think it has my name on it. It's not like, Troy Aikman's nominated for an Emmy this year. If he wins, his is going to be the only name on the, Emmy.
This award segment brought to you by 2-time Emmy winner, David Moulton.
Oh, boy.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Cape Coral, Florida for the good, and Officer Tim Hill, who saved a 3-month-old baby who was choking. He responded to a call. A baby was choking, not breathing, and turning blue. And he was able to make it into the house without hesitation, delivered some back blows. And Kaysen, the baby, began to cry, and he saved Kaysen's life. Awesome. For the bad, we go to New York City and Santa Claus. Not really that Santa, but the SantaCon charity fundraiser. You've seen the photos of all those Santas that go bar hopping for charity. I love the idea of bar hopping for charity, I have to admit. But Stephen Hilds, he's of Hewitt, New Jersey. Leave it to another Jersey guy to screw up. He was arrested on Wednesday on wire fraud charges. Authorities say he donated only a small fraction of the $2.7 million he raised through the SantaCon charity events over a 5-year period and blew it all on himself. Vacations, a luxury car, funded his lakefront property in Jersey, concert tickets, and more, all for him. And finally, the ugly. We go to Colombia, where the Peruvian marching powder caught up with the hippos. Colombian officials on Monday authorized a plan to euthanize dozens of hippos that have been roaming freely through the country. They were brought in by Pablo Escobar, and apparently the hippos are out of control, and because they are basically all related, they can't take them back to Africa because they're not very healthy. And they tried to capture the animals and neuter them. That didn't work either. But the hippos come from a limited gene pool and could carry disease. So taking them back to Africa is considered unfeasible. So down go the hippos. Down go the hippos. That, David, is the good, the bad, and the ugly. On today, April the 16th, and it's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, offering great pay, benefits, a signing bonus. For more information, capecops.com. capecops.com.
No NBA tonight. 2 play-in games tomorrow night. 6 NHL games, 3 that have playoff implications, all involving teams in the Pacific Division. They're separated by 1 point in the standings. One of them's going to finish second. One of them's going to finish third. One of them's going to be the second wild card. The second wild card will face Colorado. The second and third place teams will face each other. Anaheim, one of those teams, they're at Nashville. The LA Kings, one of those teams, they're at Calgary. And it's Edmonton, isn't it?
Edmonton, home for Vancouver, I believe.
Right. And the doubleheader is interesting because I think the doubleheader is 4 teams in which nothing is at stake tonight.
Correct.
And it's the ESPN doubleheader. If you haven't seen the Utah Mammoth, you get a chance to see them before the playoffs start. 7:30, St. Louis at Utah. That's a 5:30 local start. And then the Kraken are in Colorado. Do you even play the big boys if you're Bednar and the Avs?
Well, you're gonna have to play a couple. I mean, like Kucherov played last night. I don't know how much he played. Like Getzel didn't, Kucherov did. How much did he play? I didn't watch a second of it. But I think they only have so many roster spots, so it's not like you can sit all these guys. So I think you're going to see some guys play because, one, as I've talked about, and you get this, David, it matters to these guys to play in every game or play as many games possible. So I could see guys playing the first period and then getting very limited shifts going there out.
Yeah, Mike Johnson of NHL Network Radio talked about that last night, in which he said, listen, there were a few times I was really banged up and I could have used that last game of the regular season off before the playoffs, but I had played in every game. And I was going to play in every game. A little different philosophy than the other league that starts with an N.
100%.
Just saying.
100%.
Baseball, 10 games today, 7 of them in the afternoon. One of them is the Rays going for the sweep on the south side of Chicago against the White Sox. 2:00 Eastern start, Rays and White Sox. Another afternoon game is Angels-Yankees. None of them are nationally televised, but they're all available, MLB TV, blah, blah, blah.
Now, I could be wrong because I told you last night the Yankees-Angels was on Peacock.
Right.
It said today that the Tigers in Kansas City were on Peacock. That's also an afternoon game. So
Okay.
I will be checking in around 1:00 to see if I can watch a little Tigers-Royals.
I'll give it a shot too. I'll be in between appointments. I'll give it a shot. Kill some time.
Exactly what my life's about these days. Killing time. I finished Landman in a week. Time to find something else today.
I'll tell you what, though, that's a pretty good series. If you had to watch the series again, it'd be at the top 10 for sure.
Well written. Billy Bob Thornton delivers the lines spectacularly.
Yes.
And a great cast. But yes, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll get closer to the draft tomorrow.
Yeah, we will. Pat Kerwin will be on the show. And I really am going to try to get a Braves guest. I know
Can't
you're
wait
over
for that.
I know you certainly can. The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe. and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller & Moulton.
All right, Rick, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
You got it, buddy. Have a great day.
Thanks, my man. You too.